Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
In and rolling on a Monday. Almost to the holiday. Almost to Christmas. December 20th.
Merry Christmas.
2021. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Welcome in. Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn. Usually Brett Stats Norsworthy. No stats until the new year. He'll be back on January 3rd. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. And I welcome in the executive producer. The producer of this program, Bryant Dacus. Hello, Bryant.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. You said good morning the other day.
I did, you
Yeah,
know.
you fixed that. I'm glad.
Fixed it.
I'm glad. First hour of our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, and there's plenty to get to today. A lot of football. Bowl season rolling along. Have a game going on right now, 14-10 Tulsa over Old Dominion. But Tigers football left for the islands yesterday ahead of their Christmas Eve matchup against Hawaii. We will talk about that with Evan Barnes at 4:30. NFL, doubleheaders all over the place because of COVID-19. Browns, Raiders today at 4. We'll make a pick on that. Vikings, Bears in prime time. And then we'll also have a doubleheader tomorrow night. Washington football team versus the Eagles and Seahawks versus the Rams. Both of those will be at 6. We will discuss and make our picks for all of that on the show. As we see through the NFL, postponements, though, COVID is affecting sports at a wild rate. Due to the Omicron variant, Tigers basketball team was a victim this weekend. Memphis versus Tennessee was canceled due to COVID and contact tracing within the Memphis program. Penny spoke to the media, and I'm just going to put it this way. We'll talk about it. Situation, terrible. Not good at all.
No, not at all.
Also, Grizzlies had a decent weekend. They beat the Kings running away on Friday, but they lose the Trailblazers last night coming home. They are in the second night of a back-to-back versus the Thunder, who they beat by 73 points last time out. The line is not 72.5 tonight, though, so I can tell you that much. As far as our rundown is concerned, top and not top at the bottom of this segment, we will talk about the Tigers' COVID cancellation. Want to get your thoughts. If you made the trip, if you were there, and you had to leave early, and there was a bunch of hotel issues, I want to hear the stories for people that made the trip. I want to hear your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Bottom of this hour, Monday Night Football pick and preview before the start at 4 o'clock. Raiders at Browns. We will discuss that. 4 o'clock, we bring on David Cobb from CBS Sports, college football, college basketball for them. 4:30, Evan Barnes, like I said, from the CA to talk Tigers football as they just made the trip to Hawaii. 5:30, got to get to some NFL news, the playoff picture, and also the other Monday Night Football pick. A lot going on, and we get to our Big Four. Our Big Four will be from from all of the Raiders, Browns, Vikings, and Bears. All the teams playing tonight, we made a grand Big Four of defensive players, so we'll talk about that then. But the primetime game, Vikings at Bears, and we'll also make a pick. A lot of picks on the Rams Seahawks for Tuesday Night Football, 5:45. We get out with Taco Bell Crunch Time. I mentioned the AutoZone listener line is 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Also, you can watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. Do have to mention this. Tomorrow, there is a programming note. Now, with all of these games that we talk about, they're all up for change due to COVID-19. It could get canceled. We certainly hope it doesn't. But we will be off as of right now tomorrow because of our coverage of Samford versus Ole Miss basketball. Bryant, what is happening, man? How was your weekend?
It was good. It was eventful. Obviously, Christmas quickly approaching, and it just feels like every time I look at the calendar, it's 5 days closer to Christmas. So I've been doing a lot of Christmas shopping, to say the least. So,
do you usually get it done late or early? I am late.
I'm a procrastinator by heart, so yes, I get it late.
This year, I'm traveling on Christmas Eve, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to do my shopping on Christmas Eve, so I had to do it way ahead of time. Taylor, you know Taylor.
Yeah.
She gets it done, I'm talking about right after Thanksgiving, on Amazon shopping, packages the whole next week, and she's been done. Everything's been wrapped for at least a month at this point.
Well, and that's kind of how I am. My girlfriend Melinda is the same exact way. She wants to get everything done super. So she's like, hey, let's go shopping tonight, get all the Christmas stuff. And I'm like, no, we still have 2 weeks till Christmas. But now I'm sitting here, Christmas is on Saturday. I haven't gotten everything yet. I've got about half the things. But I'm like, now I got to go tonight. I got to go tomorrow night. I got to go, so.
I got to be honest, man. My Christmas travel schedule is about to be hectic. Right?
Yeah, yours is going to be wild. You were telling me about it. Oof.
I actually lied. I'm not leaving Christmas Eve, so I'm leaving on Thursday.
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to go drive to my parents' house in St. Louis to celebrate with them, stay there through Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, celebrate with them, back on the road back to Memphis to celebrate with Taylor's family on Christmas Day that night.
It's a lot of celebration.
Yeah, I mean, 4-hour driving.
It's
bad,
not
though.
too
St.
bad.
Louis, St. Louis to Memphis. I mean, it's not that bad.
No, it's not terrible, but driving on Christmas kind of
Yeah,
not fun.
So I want to start with our Millennial Minute.
Yeah.
Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley card was this weekend.
Boy, oh boy,
Did you watch it?
Yeah, so one of my buddies is in town from college. He goes to SMU, and we were hanging out. And
so he's got the money to pay for it.
Oh, yeah. SMU. And so he was like, "You want to watch the fight tonight?" And I was like, "Sure." He was like, "Okay, we can split it," which I think it was like $60 to buy.
Hey,
so
man,
like,
you go to SMU, dude.
I wanted to say that, but
about?
whatever. He also paid for my cheese dip at the Mexican restaurant.
Okay, I hear
so
you.
it's okay. We made up for it.
$350, yeah.
Yeah. So we watched it, and I was not very happy.
Yeah. Jake Paul knocks out Tyron Woodley in the 6th round. And look,
here's the thing.
That was a thump of a punch.
Well,
dude. I knocked Tyron Woodley out cold.
Listen to this. We're watching the fight, and I go, "Come on, Tyron, just knock him out. Knock him out." Right as the word "knock him out" leaves my mouth, right hook comes in, and he's down for the count. I'm not wrong person, but
I know some of our older listeners do not like putting up with this talk, but I found it hilarious. I didn't pay for it, though. I can't believe it. Sorry. I don't mean to shame you. But paying for it is just, I can't do it.
I've paid for all of them. I'm the sucker that they keep getting.
Stop doing it.
I don't like the Pauls. I'm rooting against them.
Let somebody else pay for it.
And I told myself, I said, this one I'm not going to pay. I know it's the same time, or it's the same thing that we just saw. It's probably going to be the same result we just saw. I'm not going to buy it. And then my buddy was like, "Hey, let's buy it and watch." I was like, you know what? Yeah, because his selling point to me was Darren Williams and Frank Gore fighting before. And I said, well, that would be interesting to watch.
That's a terrible selling point, first of all. I don't care to watch
NBA versus NFL.
I don't need to see Frank Gore fight Darren Williams. But Darren Williams won and knocked down. That was hilarious. That was one of the funniest fights I've ever watched. It was embarrassing bad.
I don't know. In Blueface box, that was pretty funny.
Frank Gore got jabbed pretty good in the face, was a little bit dazed, and Darren Williams mushed him and pushed him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Ended up winning, but he should have got disqualified for that in itself.
Yeah, should have gotten a couple points taken away. But
and I had a friend this weekend, Bryant, look at me dead in the eyes. But he played football with me at Memphis. Looked at me dead in the eyes, and he goes, "Does this look bad on football players?" Being dead serious.
Not a good look for the NFL.
Oh, shut up.
Another win for the NBA. Everyone talks about how the NBA is getting more popular every day. More people are watching the NBA. It's just another win for the NBA.
Don't have any how hot takes do not need to be taken away from any Jake Paul fight cards.
Well,
leave those at the door.
People are saying it was rigged.
Of course people are saying it was rigged. So if people care, Jake Paul's next opponent, they're saying either Anderson Silva, Tommy Fury, Dylan Dennis, Nate Diaz, all on there.
We called out Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal after the fight.
Yeah, I saw that.
Said he would see both of them.
Jorge Masvidal is a UFC fighter, and he said, "Meet me in a cage. I don't want to box."
That would not be good. But Jake Paul said he was going to he was going to do MMA, so maybe I don't know.
I don't buy it, man. He's going to fight whoever he can beat because his shtick is working.
He says Tommy he's not going to fight Tommy Fury again after Tommy Fury backed out with an injury, but I think that's the fight. If I'm being honest,
if that's the fight,
I would love to see that fight,
sir.
I would buy that fight.
You know what? Let's just the whole Jake Paul thing. He has made money off of it. Eventually, it'll wear off, right? Hopefully,
no. No, I really don't think so.
Absolutely not.
I just think, because here's the thing. You've got one half of the people who are, like YouTube fans and fans of his and want to watch. He's selling out arenas, so people obviously want to see him. And so I think that's going to keep going. And then there's all the doubters like myself who are just like, he's not going to win this one. Or whose friend says, let's just watch it. And then we buy it. So I think it's working out just fine. I think he's going to keep riding it. I don't know how long it'll take till the wheels fall off.
What makes me laugh, too, is the people betting on it. There are lines on FanDuel and everything.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And shout out to FanDuel for having those lines. But it makes me laugh when people bet on it.
Yeah, my buddy goes, "You're not betting on this, right?" I go, "Absolutely
not."
He goes, "Are you sure?" Because he knows how the gambler I am. And are you positive?
Absolutely not.
It's rigged.
No. it feels rigged for Jake Paul, regardless of if he's beating these guys.
The best part about the fight, I know you didn't watch it, so you probably didn't see this part.
I saw the knockout.
Well, obviously, but did you see any time Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul, also a boxer.
Oh, bro. Okay,
no.
Don't call him a boxer. Chill out with
Hold
that.
up. So
Chill out with
on
that.
Showtime, anytime they showed him and they would put the little title and then
Okay.
they'd say Logan Paul,
Chill
right
out calling
under
him a
it,
boxer,
it would
sir.
well listen, right under it, it would say went the distance with Floyd Mayweather. Every single time.
Come on. Why are we doing? Okay, you know what? Let's
Because
change
they
subject.
paid Showtime.
And I'm glad we started with like the more fun stuff because we have to get sort of negative and talk about the bad stuff right now. Tigers versus number 18 Tennessee this weekend. Supposed to be in Bridgestone Arena. Was canceled an hour before the game due to COVID in the Tigers program. Tyler Harris, Landers Nolly tested positive. They would have only had 4 available players because of contact tracing at most. And it seems, although we do not have confirmation from Penny Hardaway, that they are unvaxxed. They are not vaccinated. So contact tracing took them out because they are not vaccinated. I'm not sure about who is, who isn't. I think we would need more clarity on that. I'm not sure we'll get that clarity. But I have to start by saying I feel awful for all the fans that went to town to get let down. The build-up for this game was massive. Before the season, in the off-season, sold out. Sold out before the season even started for Bridgestone Arena. And I know so many Memphis fans were so ready to get to this game. And to get let down like that, I feel terrible for everybody involved. I'll say this. If you have your experience, if you traveled down to Nashville for the game, I want to hear your experience. What happened when you were leaving? Was there a rush to get out of the hotels? How if you stayed there? Was there any run-ins on Broadway? I certainly hope not. But 901-360-8255. I want to hear what happened for you this weekend. But tickets supposedly refunded, from what I understand. Hotels, sorry, I don't think you can get those refunded. It looked like there was a big rush to get out of a lot of the hotels. But some people right after the cancellation pointed to a get-together a couple days before the game with the Tigers, and Penny sort of tried to clear that up, saying they were there for 7 minutes max. If you have unvaccinated players, though, I would keep them away. But it brought me back to last week and Penny Hardaway talking about we're going to have a beautiful week for Tiger basketball. You started it off great. Tuesday, you get the upset of a top 10 team against Bama. But that beautiful week turned ugly very, very quickly by a preventable situation that sort of involves you sort of pushing players in the right direction to get the vaccine. And it's almost like the staff and the team was blindsided. Like they thought it couldn't happen. And I listened to Penny Hardaway's comments yesterday, his presser. I got about 3 minutes in, and I had to turn it off because I couldn't – I didn't understand one of the first things he said. Penny was talking about the trainer letting him know that one of the symptomatic players, either Tyler Harris or Landers Nolly, had tested positive. So the trainer had let him know that one of those guys had tested positive. And Penny said, that was the last thing I thought he was going to say to me. Really? It was the last thing that you thought was going to be told to you when you had a guy sick in his hotel room. We're in the middle of a pandemic still. Omicron variant's going around. NBA, we have a bunch of games getting canceled. NFL, we're postponing games. It was the last thing you thought you'd hear that COVID-19 was going to hurt your chances of playing a game. It was going to keep some players out of a game. Come on. No.
He's laser focused on the task at hand.
That's not the last thing. It can't be. It can't be.
No.
In today's day and age, and in the way we're going with COVID-19, it cannot come close to being the last thing on your mind. It has to be first and foremost in a lot of ways, especially this week, with what you've seen happen. Everything is being postponed. In college basketball, eight games postponed, canceled yesterday. By my count, 4 today, 6 tomorrow, 1 on Thursday. And this has been happening. This is not new.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you got to take your position seriously. You do. And Penny, by all accounts, with COVID-19 has not really done that. And I know you can't force them. But what he said about he sort of alluded to saying, well, we talked to him once about vaccinations, tried to get him some information. We didn't revisit it after that. You got to be more persistent than that. Because it's a competitive advantage at the college level still. We'll talk about it later. It's not a competitive advantage in the NFL right now. There's a lot of things going on. But right now in college basketball, if you have vaccinated players, seemingly those guys would have gotten to play. They wouldn't have been contact traced because they were vaccinated. So it's just it's frustrating in a lot of ways. We have a lot of things to discuss about this. We want your text, 901-360-8255. You can also message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. If you have any sort of stories about your travels to Nashville, we want to know about that. We'll read them. We'll talk about them. But this was certainly something that should not happen. We realize that it's possible in today's day and age. But Penny did before the season say they were 90% vaccinated, and then later stepped back and said he misspoke. That's what he said this weekend. So a lot of things to get to, but let's get to top and not top story.
Top story of the day.
This has to be, for me personally, you have to look at the Grizzlies. This weekend, you had the COVID scare, but they win 124-105 against the Kings. On Friday, that was 10 of 11 without Ja. It looks like he might be back. He just got upgraded to questionable tonight. He's out of COVID-19 protocols, but that was the 6th consecutive road win for the Grizzlies. That's the most since 2016. Jaren Jackson Jr., Bane, DB combined for 68 in that game. But then they followed it up last night. It was what it was. Grizzlies versus Blazers, 105-100. Norman Powell, 28. Lillard, 32. Got their game off. Bane struggled a lot. Jaren Jackson Jr. struggled. He fouled out, which we know can still happen with him. There's inconsistencies game to game. But even in that game, there's been 11 straight games with 10-plus steals for the Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks still playing with a whole lot of intensity. They don't let games spiral out of control, Brian. They just do not. No. And where we've seen in the past, when they start to get down, they'll start sitting guys and they'll just lose the game by a whole lot, end up at the end with all of their bench players in. That's not happening now. They're staying into the very end, and if they lose, they lose. And the one thing I have noticed, even just going back this whole year, the offensive freedom without Jonas Valanciunas is substantial. It really is. And you can say what you want about JV. I really like JV here. JV did a lot for the Grizzlies in his time here. Double-double machine, 20-10 a night. But Steven Adams out there, he passes. He does all the dirty work, doesn't want to score, does not care to score at all unless he gets a putback. So the offensive freedom certainly shows. Also, Zaire Williams is in health and safety protocols, but we will discuss the Grizzlies later on in the show.
I just want to add to that real quick. I love Steven Adams. I think the biggest thing with him is he's very he knows his role.
Yes.
And he's not saying that JV is one of those guys, but he's not one of the guys that are like, "Oh, I got to get mine. He's just like, "Hey, I'm in the NBA. I'm going to do what I got to do, and if I got to pass, if I got to shoot, if I got to get a rebound, that's what I'm going to do to help the team." So I love that.
Yeah, and Jonas Valanciunas, in a lot of ways, I watched the Pelicans play this year, and I watched the Grizzlies last year. While he did give a lot of production, he's very offensively inclined. Good. He's hitting threes. He gets in the way.
He does.
He gets in the way quite a bit.
Because he's there for his rebound.
Yep.
Not top story of the day.
That's COVID. That's COVID. Tigers canceled. Looks like Alabama State, the game they were supposed to play tomorrow, likely will be canceled. I don't know if it's fully canceled yet. We'll see. I'm not positive.
Did you say the Tigers game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's canceled.
It's canceled officially. So just so much going on. I mentioned in college basketball, 8 games postponed / canceled yesterday. By my count, 4 today, 6 tomorrow, 1 on Thursday. And we're just sort of scheduling on the fly. And in the NBA, you had a bunch of postponements. On Sunday, you had the Cavs, Hawks, Nuggets, Nets, Pelicans, Sixers. Today, Magic, Raptors postponed. Tuesday, Wizards, Nets already postponed. Nets are struggling right now. Nets have a G League team out there. And the NBA is doing some things to try to combat this. They're adding 10-day contracts to combat COVID-19. As far as replacements are concerned, they are going to allow one replacement player for each of the players who are under contract and test positive for COVID-19. You have to sign one replacement player when you have 2 positive tests, 3 positive tests. You have to have 2 replacement signings, 4 positive results or more. You have to get 3 hardship signings. Also, to combat this, 2-way players can participate in as many games as they want. It was only 50 beforehand. But the NBA is trying to do all they can to try to keep the show on the road. But it's just getting uglier and uglier by the day. I wonder in college football if we're going to have any canceled bowl games. But in the NFL, it continues to be wild. We had a doubleheader today, a doubleheader tomorrow because of COVID postponements. If COVID's not your top story, if it's not sort of putting throwing a wrench into your sports watching experience, I don't know. I mean, it's terrible right now. I hope we sort of figure something out though, and I want to point this out. And people that are unvaccinated, look, you may hate me in this situation, but I'm going to go ahead and say it how it is. If you're asymptomatic, vaccinated, or boosted, and you're a player in one of these sports leagues, should they be missing games? That's my question. At what point do we sort of fix the messaging? And by messaging, I mean, at this point, vaccinated versus unvaccinated doesn't mean a thing. You look at the NFL is testing spot testing. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. You could miss a game and miss a game check if you're positive for COVID-19 and you don't get to play that game. The fact that vax versus unvax makes no difference is wild. It's wild to me. We started this year where we were talking about guys getting sort of breaks, not having to test as much. Granting vaccinated players the rights you set out to grant them is something I think you need to hold yourself responsible to. And right now, there's seemingly no difference between vaccinated and unvaccinated. And if this keeps up, in my opinion, vaccination and boost rates will start trending in the wrong direction in these leagues. You've been at 97%, 90%, 100% in the NHL. But if you don't give them the rights that they thought they were going to get by getting vaccinated, the competitive advantage, what's going to happen? Andrew Wiggins didn't want to get vaccinated before the year. He didn't want to, but he got vaccinated because he thought it would give his team a competitive advantage. He just went into health and safety protocols. So at what point do we sort of fix this messaging going on? Because it just seems like if we head this direction, that vaccinations are going to mean less and less to the population, especially in sports, and our rates will start going in the wrong direction.
Well, and I'll give another example. I mean, Kyrie Irving, we've seen him. He's kind of starting to get back into the swing of things, but he still seems like unvaccinated, is what I've heard. And, he's now on the COVID list, but so is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant vaccinated. So if I'm Kyrie Irving and I'm sitting here and they're saying, well, we want you to get vaccinated so you can play, but I'm sitting here, Kevin Durant, my teammate who's vaccinated, he's on the same list as I am, but he's vaccinated. So why do I want to go get a vaccine now?
And look, I think to a certain extent, like, there's got to be a thought of pushing forward, pushing through for vaccinated players especially. We have the preventative measures. And my question becomes, like, if not right this second, if we're not going to try to push through and work through this pandemic with our vaccinated players, let our vaccinated players go ahead, then when? Like, if not, if we can't push through now, then when can we?
Yeah.
And there's always going to be folks denying science and dragging this thing along. But I feel like continuing to fold and make the vaccinations look lesser is going to hurt the case. And I think it'll do irreparable damage. I think it'll do bad damage to the messaging behind getting vaccinated. And I know there are going to be some people that hit the text line, I don't want to get the vaccine. I'll never get the vaccine. I don't care about that. I really don't. If you've made your decision, you've made your decision. I understand that. But for people that are vaccinated, trying to do the right things in these leagues, I feel like we need to grant them the rights that we set out to grant them in the first place. That'll do it for our top and our not top story of the day. When we come back on the other side, want your texts. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and sports56whbq.com. We have a lot to talk about around this Tigers COVID cancellation against number 18 Tennessee. What do they do to make it up? What did Penny say yesterday in his presser? All coming up next on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
The soothing scent of Vicks Vapor Rub. It's only one of the most iconic smells ever. That cooling, comforting scent generations of families have come to trust to help them feel better. And now you trust to soothe your family. Pick up some Vicks Vapor Rub in the little blue jar and wrap yourself with the calm only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, always there for you.
Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations: Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Dare-Ya or the Double Dare-Ya, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres? To become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in. Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe and Stats. No stats until the new year. He'll be back January 3rd. Bryant Dacusson producing the program and also doing some co-hosting duties. You'll hear his voice. Now, this is interesting from Baxter Holmes. Baxter Holmes, of course, is an LA-based NBA writer. Maxi Kleber just went into the health and safety protocols. That marks the 100th NBA player in the health and safety protocols this month. That's
something.
It's absolutely insane. But the story that's taking off around here, that if you've been living under a rock, Tigers in Tennessee, of course, canceled this weekend. Again, I feel awful for the fans. If you have a story, 901-360-8255, let us know about that. We'll read that. We'll talk about that. Tickets were refunded. And there was a point where Penny talked about, and other people were talking about, a get-together of sorts.
Yeah, it was the night before, yeah.
Yeah, Penny said that there were 7 minutes max that they were there. But at the same time, if you have unvaccinated players, which it looks like they do, they probably shouldn't be there. It was a beautiful week turned ugly by a preventable situation, and the staff, team, higher-ups were all sort of blindsided, and they should have known it was a possibility. I mentioned Penny saying it was the last thing he thought that he was going to hear was a positive test. I don't know how that's the last thing on your mind that you think you can hear when you have unvaccinated players, but we are here. He also said that he spoke about vaccinations once and left it at that. So there's that. He also went on to say he can't force them. But here's what I'll say. You need to speak more than once about vaccinations in the preseason, especially if you say that you're 90% vaccinated and it turns out that's completely false, where he said he misspoke. But you need to speak more than once. You need to provide the info. You need to bring in experts to help them make the decision. And if they remain unvaxxed, protocols need to be taken seriously. Are they wearing masks around the facility? It's a competitive advantage. Are they doing the things behind closed doors that unvaccinated players should be doing? Are they testing every day?
No.
Because if they're unvaccinated, they should be testing every day. Because it can go around quickly. The fact that, know what amazes me, Bryant? This was a time bomb from the beginning of the season. You had this many unvaccinated players. How did it not happen till now? It's a miracle that it didn't happen till now.
Yeah, but I mean, we are seeing that the new virus it seems like it's popping off over the past couple weeks.
Understood. I understand Omicron is way more transmittable. I've heard 70 times more transmittable, which is absolutely astounding. But the fact that you haven't had anything happen until now is insane to me. And the fact that Penny misspoke. He said 90% vaccination before the year. Some people were reporting 100%, which was unbelievable to me. But 90% vaccinations, that's bad on everyone directly involved with the basketball program, not just Penny, in my opinion. That's athletic department. That's everybody should know. And I sort of wonder if there was no vaccinations, and take this question lightly here, I guess as lightly as you can. Did any players violate the New York City mandate code?
No, because that's residents. I'm pretty sure.
So you can try. I thought it was all indoor.
At
the arenas.
I looked it up. I didn't look it up. I didn't have too much time to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that was just for residents there.
That's interesting though, because why wasn't Kyrie able to play? He wouldn't have been able to play home games.
No, but that's because he's a resident.
Well, no.
I know
think
it's
anybody indoor in arenas. That wouldn't make much sense if it was just residents.
Yeah,
but that's a question.
It's a question. Yeah.
Did they violate when they were in Brooklyn? Did they violate that code? And if you had 10 unvaccinated players or whatever the number is, why?
I think it's closer to 6.
Okay, 6 unvaccinated players, whatever it is, whatever the number is. Why were they at an event a night before the Tennessee game? It just shows a lack of, I'm not going to say caring. I know that Penny Hardaway cares about the program and he wants to see it succeed. But it's just a lack of awareness that you have to have as the head of a program. You have to have it. And the fact that he doesn't is very, very concerning. And then when asked about COVID-19 and what could happen down the road, Penny says this, quote, "Obviously this could rear its ugly head again and be the same thing. Hopefully the families will think more about it." And Penny himself has said he's vaccinated. He's not going to force anybody to get vaccinated. What you need to do is let these guys know that it is a competitive advantage for them to get vaccinated. Do you want to make the tournament? If they say yes, get vaccinated. Do you want to play all your games? Yes, get vaccinated. You wanted to play this Tennessee game. This was one of the last opportunities for the Tigers to really get a good resume-boosting win. I talked about it on Friday. If they won that game, probably put yourself at this moment 7-4. If you were 7-4, right side of the bubble. If you lose it, probably wrong side of the bubble. Now, at this point, I'm worried more about COVID-19 than anything else at this moment. But what are you going to have to do in conference play to be able to make up that ground on your resume? 13-3? 14-2? What do you have to do? You have to absolutely sweep. You have to kill people in conference. Whereas if you have that game, maybe if you win it, you put yourself in a little more comfortable position. And now they lose that huge resume game. And Penny mentioned he has a huge desire to reschedule with Tennessee. I'll tell you that right now. And he says, however it can happen, we want to make it happen. If we have to do it back-to-back, it will not happen. It won't. Guarantee it. Tennessee was there ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
And also all the talk of, and sort of sidebar here, all the talk of, oh, well, they didn't want to, they were scared to play. Either side saying, oh, well, Tennessee was scared to play. Memphis says, Memphis just sort of lied about their vaccination. They didn't want to play. They had 2 star players out. They didn't want to go ahead. That is BS.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. Don't read into any of that. But you lose that resume game. Tennessee ain't rescheduling with you. They just aren't. And if you want to schedule a quality opponent, which we've seen, like there's guys, there's teams. I mean, the Kentucky game with North Carolina was scheduled last second. We've seen it happen, right? Where guys end up scheduling on the fly. Get that. But what team with a good resume and a good conference is going to want to schedule you if you're not vaccinated? That's the question I have. Who will do it? I just don't see it happening. You're putting yourself in a bad way right now at this point in the season. And it's very, very concerning, to say the least. And it's frustrating. And I think for fans, it's very frustrating as well. You come off a game where you figure, okay, maybe they turned the corner against Alabama.
Yeah.
And then now, no dice. That's not the case.
No.
They're going to get into conference play. Resume's not built up how they wanted it to be built up, and that's just sort of what it is. Now, if you want to hit the text line, AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. You can also message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. T-Money on YouTube says, are we done with the Tigers this year? I wouldn't say we're done with the Tigers, although it's very uncomfortable.
Done with them for now.
I'll say this. I mean, they're not playing this week likely. No. And COVID, the way it's going around right now, and the fact that they have unvaccinated players, it looks like this could happen again rather easily. So I'm not saying we're done with the Tigers, but the Tigers are putting themselves in a position where it's going to be a big uphill battle to get to March and then stay in March. If you get there, if you get to the tournament, who's saying you can't have a COVID outbreak there? Now, I don't know what the protocols will be. I don't know if we'll adjust them going forward. But if you get to March, you're putting yourself in a bad position as well. Ron says, Penny should be asking players every week if vaccinated and keep encouraging them to get vaccinated. Ron, I'm with you. 100% with you. And if boosters come to the table, boosters, do that. Do what you got to do to be able to put a team, field a team, and put it on a court and play against somebody. Because to have to cancel this game that late with all the fans sort of riding to that game after a big week, high hopes, it's demoralizing. I know it's demoralizing in the locker room. It's demoralizing for a fan base. It's demoralizing for everybody involved. Somebody else says, looks like the Tigers have 10 unvaccinated players, and it will happen again, hopefully not in March. 10, I'm not sure on. I don't know the exact number. But here's also, Brian, I'm curious how you feel about this. Should he be open at this point now about who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated?
Penny?
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's
or
their
at least
business.
put a number on it. Don't have to say names. Put
No,
a number
I mean,
on it.
I was doing it earlier. Giving him the benefit of the doubt. We know that Tyler and Landers got it, but
Yeah.
he didn't say they had it, so I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and let's just say they're both vaccinated. He wasn't going to play the 3 redshirt guys.
Right.
He had at least 1, maybe 2 injured.
Yep.
So that, and then 4, he said at most 4 would be able to play. So that leaves you about 6. Giving him the benefit of the doubt, I believe 6 are unvaccinated currently. But I don't think he needs to go out there and name drop them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we had a problem earlier in the season with him name dropping people for not, going hard. So, I don't think he should be name dropping people who don't
No,
have.
I'm not saying name drop. I'm saying at least
Or at least put the number.
Be
Yeah.
more open about, okay, we have this many unvaccinated players, and we're doing this to try to mitigate spread. They're wearing masks, that type of thing.
Right.
But that hasn't happened yet, so it's very interesting. Somebody says if you have taken the vaccine and are still getting the virus, you need to understand that's not a vaccine, that's a shot. You can't change the definition of words to fit your argument. To this person, I'd say just look at the science. I'm not going to go into it. Just look at the science. Just go find it. CDC studies. Everything says if you get vaccinated, you're less likely to, 1, contract it. People don't believe that. You still can contract it, but less likely to be hospitalized and then killed by this virus. Get the damn vaccine if you don't want to be seriously injured or hurt from this virus. But if you decided you didn't want to take it, I mean, that's your decision. It seems like you're pretty stuck on that decision at this point. Somebody else says, I think you're forgetting Memphis has 2 or 3 cracks at Houston. If we win 1 or 2 of those, that should be good enough to get in the tournament. You have to win 1 or 2 of those first. I'll say that. And also, what happens, and bear with me, what happens if you have to cancel games in conference? If you just lose game straight up?
It's forfeit.
So, more questions than answers. That's what I'll say about that. And yes, if they win 2 times against Houston or whatever happens,
Before quad 1 wins,
that would be
big.
nice. That'd be good.
Yeah.
But they have to go do that, and they're not even on a court right now. They can't even really practice in the current situation. So they're at a disadvantage. There's no question about it. When we come back, got some Monday Night Football to talk about. We have a game starting here in just about 15 minutes. That'll be Browns and Raiders. It was rescheduled from Sunday from Saturday to today. We will make that pick and talk about that when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
This is Anthony Sane for Sports 56 Grind Time. I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Have a great holiday season and join Peter Evanston and me for Sports 56 Grind Time from 1 to 3 p.m. weekday afternoons right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family-friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
General contractors, subcontractors, Zipcat can help you find workers for the jobs you're needing done. Contractors, just post your jobs on Zipcat for the price you want them done for. Subcontractors will find the jobs listed on Zipcat and offer to buy them. You both have 3 days to accept and approve the subcontracting job you bought. For the best tool in your toolbox, download the Zipcat app. Roofers, concrete, plumbers, HVAC, painters, download it free. Zipcat, Z-I-P-C-A-T. Z-I-P-C-A-T. That's Zipcat.
It's time to call Doug and Colin Brown for your house. Looking to buy or sell a home in Mississippi? Rely on Doug and Colin Brown, $1 Million Realtors at Regency Realty in Mississippi. This father-son combo will help you find your next dream home. With decades of experience, Doug and Colin Brown put honesty, integrity, and clients first. Call Doug and Colin Brown in Mississippi at 901-598-9168. Regency Realty, 901-350-5050.
Talking to you about my friends at Louis Deli and Meat Market in Arlington, because not only are you going to see the quality in their meats, but you're going to taste the quality in every bite. Let Louis take some of the hassle out of your holiday season by pre-ordering for your get-togethers, like I did for Thanksgiving with the spiral slice ham, boneless turkey breast, beef tenderloin, meat and cheese tray, or a boneless or bone-in ribeye roast. Deadline to pre-order is December 18th. Maybe you're looking for stocking stuffers. At Louis, you'll find a huge assortment of barbecue rubs, sauces, and seasonings, and a Louis gift card that will make a perfect stocking stuffer for the person who likes to grill. So stop by Louis today, and while you're there, register to win a Komodo Joe grill. You gotta hurry, though. The drawing is Wednesday, December 22nd. No purchase necessary. Visit Louis Deli and Meat Market, located in Arlington at 11695 Highway 70, just 4th of a mile east of Highway 385. Locally and veteran-owned. Louis Deli and Meat Market. It's quality you can see and taste.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Have some live football going on right now. Football. Myrtle Beach Bowl. Presented by Tax Act, if you were wondering. Tulsa up 20-10 on Old Dominion in the third. Old Dominion has the ball, and they're trying to start a drive. 8:38 left in the third. But we've already made those picks on all of those college football games, all of the bowl games. We have a couple more to make because we will be out tomorrow. But we'll get to those later in the show. The NFL, we were supposed to have 2 Saturday games. We only had one because of the game we're about to make a pick on. But that other Saturday game was interesting, wasn't it, Brian? Colts beat the Pats, snap a 7-game winning streak. They win 27-17. And the point I'd make about the Colts, that's a playoff team.
And you'd be thinking HBO.
And, yeah, that's a good point. They have played a lot better since they got on there. And Carson Wentz has been playing a decent amount better, although he didn't have to do much the other night. They can cause issues, though. I think you can put me on whatever. You can record this. You can go ahead and clip this, Bryant. I think they'll win a playoff game if they get there. I think they will too. Get in, and I think they will. I think they'll likely win a game or two. We'll see. But the offense, the run game is unbelievable for them. Jonathan Taylor, 29 rushes, 170 yards, and a TD. I mean, he's looking to try to make a late push in that MVP discussion. And Carson Wentz, much maligned Carson Wentz, he's been steady, man. 23 TDs, 6 interceptions on the year. Now, he's made some stupid decisions with some of those picks.
At times, yeah.
And he fumbles the ball to a certain extent sometimes, but he has been very, very steady. And defensively, they have a lot going on. I love Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard's one of the best linebackers in the game, can cover, can get downhill, can make a lot of tackles. I don't know if he leads the lead in tackling right now, but he's definitely up there close to the lead. Their nickel corner, Kenny Moore, stud, absolute stud, was all over the field against the Pats. But they picked off Mac Jones twice. And you look at what Mac Jones did in that 7-game win streak. Threw 2 picks the whole time. And they picked him off twice.
Yikes.
in one night. Other notes from the NFL: Dolphins won their 6th in a row versus the Jets, 31-24. They're 7-7 now. They're actually looking at like a AFC on the outside looking in for an AFC playoff spot. We'll see what happens. My favorite part of that game, though, Christian Wilkins, their big D tackle from Clemson. We saw him at Clemson. ESPN was playing all the reruns of him sort of dropping into the splits and doing his dance after the
fun guy,
after the Clemson championship. But he got a TD, and the worm celebration was fantastic.
Oh, that was awesome.
And then the NFL is just wild. We know this. The damn NFL. Lions beat the Cardinals 30-12.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Lions beat the Cardinals 30-12.
I do love bad teams, but
yes, but how about Craig Reynolds, running back from Kutztown University in Pennsylvania, 26 rushes, 112 yards.
And good for him.
Against the Cardinals. I get Kutztown University of Pennsylvania. D2. I did not know that.
Love my D2
Sounds
schools.
like an NAIA school, but
does.
Kutztown University of Pennsylvania. Good old Craig Reynolds. Got to love him. Bengals beat the Broncos 15-10. Bengals, as I sort of predicted. We'll see what happens by the whole end of the year, but they take the lead in the AFC North. Shout out.
Playing well.
Prayers out to Teddy Bridgewater. I know he was released from the hospital today. He got lit up.
Yeah.
And bad concussion yesterday. He was taken off on a backboard. Steelers beat the Titans 19-13, which helped the Chiefs get the number 1 spot in the AFC. The Chiefs that we counted out earlier in the year. T.J. Watt breaks the single-season franchise record with 17.5 sacks. Previous record was James Harrison with 16. Shout out T.J. Watt, 17.5 sacks in 12 games. It's good stuff.
That's really good stuff.
It's really good. That's Defensive Player of the Year level stuff right there. Packers beat the Ravens 31-30, clinched the NFC North. And what do you think about that final call by Harbaugh there on the two-point conversion instead of the tie? They end up missing the attempt and losing 31-30.
We've talked about it a lot. It's just kick the field goal.
Okay.
Or kick the extra point.
Listen. In this situation, I don't know if I'm that mad at John Harbaugh.
That is true, though.
Aaron Rodgers
that
with 42 seconds?
That is true.
Aaron Rodgers with 42 seconds, that's an eternity for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that's a long time, yeah.
He in one timeout.
Okay, but Gabe, think about it like this.
Field goal wins anyway.
I mean, he's going to do what he does either way.
I know, but you take a chance, I think, at least if he misses, you win the ball game instead of going to OT. But regardless, eternity with 42 seconds for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not mad at that decision.
No, I'm not as mad as I was earlier in the season with some
going
teams.
for 2 weeks ago against the Steelers,
yeah,
probably not for me.
No.
But who am I, right? Sunday Night Football, Saints at Bucks. Saints won 9-0. Tom Brady.
What a game.
Worst game of the year for Tom Brady. Worst game in a long while for Tom Brady. A fumble, a late interceptions.
Worst game ever?
Late interception. Not ever. I don't know. I mean, it's a long career, sir. Bucks lose. Leonard Fournette went down. Mike Evans. I don't know how long they're out. I don't know if they have season-ending things, but Chris Godwin does. Chris Godwin tore his ACL. Very sad. 98 receptions, up over 1,000 yards this year. That's a big hit for them at this point in the season. That's a big hit for this point in the season. Now, Raiders at Browns tonight. Browns 3.5-point favorites. No Kevin Stefanski on the sideline. That's just been reported. COVID-19 took him out. Browns will have to start Nick Mullins because Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum couldn't clear protocol. No Jarvis Landry. But here's the good news. Lineman-wise, they got Wyatt Teller. They're all-pro.
Oh, that's big for them, actually.
Yeah, he's all-pro guy, but he's off the COVID list. They don't have Jedrick Wills, their left tackle. He's still on the COVID list. I'm going to go ahead and make my pick. I think the Raiders cover the 3.5. It's just the Browns are decimated. Raiders don't have much going in regards to COVID. They're basically full strength.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Vegas as well. I had them before this game was, delayed. But wouldn't it be a great Nick Mullins story if he could come out there and win tonight? That'd be awesome.
And you know what?
He's done it before.
To be fair to Nick Mullins, he's not awful. He's just not good. He can, in this situation where you have a lot of O-line, you have Nick Chubb running behind you, I think he could possibly.
Yeah, they're not going to be asking him to do a ton, I don't think.
Right. I mean, he's been with San Francisco, 3-5 in 2018 as a starter, 2-6 in 2020 as a starter. But they were decimated, and they're decimated tonight. But they have a good run game and a good O-line that I think he can lean on. I wonder how much Kevin Stefanski not being on the sideline plays into what they'll do offensively. I know that he doesn't necessarily call plays, but he has been their guy. And their offensive system's based on what he has done in hiring assistants and everything else.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all plays out. I got Raiders.
Mm-hmm. We both got Raiders. Brett, he's going to actually go with Cleveland. So no group lock for right now, at least.
That's an interesting one. I have a feeling he'll lose that. But what do I know?
I hope he loses that since we both have Vegas.
Right. Hour 1's in the books. When we come back for Hour 2, it's going to be a busy one. David Cobb at 4 o'clock from CBS Sports talking college football, college basketball. 4:30, Evan Barnes from the CA talking Tigers football. We'll be right back on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Along with Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview of the Vikings at the Bears from Soldier Field. Hey, Kurt, the story here is the playoff hopeful Vikings, now with a healthy running back Dalvin Cook in the backfield. In his return last week, he posted 205 yards rushing against the Steelers.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned it. There's so much to play for this Minnesota Vikings team. The problem is, I have no idea what team is going to show up each and every week. Is that they've got the capabilities of beating anyone, and you said it. Starts with their run game. Dalvin Cook, he can explode for 200 yards any time out. Kirk Cousins having an unbelievable year when you look at touchdowns to interceptions, but will the best players show up tonight?
Vikings in Chicago against the Bears on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Aristotle once said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Plato once remarked, the measure of a man is what he does with power. And someone at Hulu said, hey, did you know that Hulu Plus Live TV's got over 75 live channels? You can watch your favorite live sports, live news, live reality shows, and more. Plus tons of shows and movies on demand, too. It's time to have Hulu Plus Live TV. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at Hulu.com.
With Early Paycheck, you can get your direct deposit up to 2 days earlier. That's another reason banking with Capital One is the easiest decision ever. Even easier than deciding to open the biggest birthday gift first.
Happy birthday to you.
Which one are you going to open first?
The pony.
Yep, even easier than that. Plus, with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is banking with Capital One even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. No fees or minimums on new consumer accounts. Capital One and a member FDIC.
Tired of waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit Action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
The Christmas sale is happening now at Family Leisure. Did you know that's where Santa goes to shop? Oh, yes. Why? Because arcades are up to 25% off. Air hockey and foosball tables, they start at just $149.99. You can get great deals on hot tubs and saunas. Let me tell you, that is perfect for the winter weather. Trampolines, up to 20% off. this is the best time to buy. Pool tables and shuffleboard tables in stock and ready for delivery. They're not waiting on a boat somewhere. Speaking of delivery, those schedules are filling up very, very fast. So reserve your date now, just in time for Christmas. It's the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. It's happening now. Remember, shop early, shop local, and shop where Santa shops. It's Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40. It's where family and fun come together for the holidays.
Get ready to command the season in your new Kia from Gossett Kia on the Pike. All with Kia's year-end push and a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to back them up. 2022 Kia Forte 41 MPG $179, only $27.99 due at signing. Or 2022 Kia Sportage LX front-wheel drive $199 a month. Or 2022 Kia Sorento $279 a month, both only $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month leases. If you're ready to end the year in a big way, come see Bobby J today. He's ready to buy your sleigh and put you in a new Kia. That's Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sorento NGO 92178, MSRP $30,875. Sportage N 7017 MSRP $25,815. Forte 8429,506, MSRP $21,035. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 103/21. Dealer stock only.
So this was going to be one of those central barbecue spots where I encourage everybody to get ribs for people as stocking stuffers. But? Well, I was listening to your show.
Oh, really?
Sure, I listen every day, seething with jealousy. But I heard one of your spots that had the code word big head.
Yeah, that's right.
I always thought you were probably sensitive about the big head thing.
No. I accept that I have a big head.
Huge.
Maybe we should just get back to Central Barbecue.
Well, I'm going to get back to the whole Central Barbecue makes a perfect holiday gift, but seriously, look at that pumpkin.
Let's just...
I mean, that thing could have its own weather system.
Okay, we get it. Let's get back to...
I know. Central Barbecue gift cards are a great stocking stuffer. How the hell do you even buy hats?
I don't.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour 2 is here. Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe and Stats. No stats until the new year. He'll be back January 3rd. Brian Dake is producing the program. If you want to join the show, text us. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. You can also watch us live on Twitter and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. Without further ado, let's bring in our good friend from CBS Sports, covering college basketball and college football, at David W. Cobb. David Cobb joins us. David, what's happening, man?
Not much, Gabe. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. How was your weekend?
It was busy. I had a lot going on. I mean, COVID kind of eliminated a little bit of it. I was supposed to do live blogs on both CBS Sports Classic games, but there only ended up being one because of COVID stuff. And, of course, I was super bummed when Tennessee-Memphis got canned because I was looking forward to that one. It was going to be a fun game. But it turns out the trash talk that's followed it has just been probably about as much fun, although I'm kind of getting sick of it at this point.
You know, I hated to see the people having to leave their hotels real early. It looked like there was sort of a big hustle and bustle. People were sort of backed up. There was a log jam. But what did you make of the situation? And if Penny Hardaway can't get the vaccination thing under control, are they going to have enough on a resume to even think about March?
Yeah, it's definitely a big concern. And I don't mean that in any way from oh, wow, Penny should be concerned about the health and well-being of his players. Okay, statistically, we know that if those guys get COVID, 99.999% chance they're going to be fine. And then you can take the stance of, oh, wow, Penny should take his responsibility as a leader in the city more seriously and be more concerned about the optics of it. And it's like, okay, well, he can, maybe he could at least pretend to care about that. But do many college coaches actually care about stuff like that? No. Sometimes they have to pretend they do. But what this comes down to is, and where he's probably derelict in his duty, is the competitive element of it. Mm-hmm. Because the last thing you want is for them to get near the postseason and then have something happen, something come up, and they all get contact traced again. So it's a competitive deal. I mean, do you think Lane Kiffin used a lot of I'm sure he brought experts in,
Right.
But do we buy that he has some deep-seated, medical expertise and conviction? No. I mean, he saw what it was. That, hey, it's going to be a real competitive advantage if I get my guys vaccinated, and took the steps to make that happen. So, I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to, is like, it's a competitive thing for college sports, because if you are vaccinated, you don't have to go through as many protocols. You don't have to be tested anytime somebody on your roster gets it. So it's that's I guess the part of it that is concerning for Memphis moving forward, is that this could happen again.
Yep, and Penny mentioned he wanted to try to reschedule the Tennessee game. I'm assuming there's about a 0.0000% chance of that happening.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the stuff from Rick today in Knoxville, but yeah, I would say 0.0. And I mean, I'm sure some of that is like them just being annoyed and like it not being worth the hassle for Tennessee. They don't need necessarily a game of that magnitude, because it's they got Alabama and Kentucky and LSU and Texas, and the SEC brings them plenty of opportunities to prepare themselves for what's ahead. Memphis obviously needs the game because the AAC is what it is, but I think more so, the element of it that I think was certainly worth adding on to the conversation is that it's really difficult to schedule games in the midst of your conference schedules. I mean, last year at this exact time, Baylor and Gonzaga, it was going to be number 1 versus number 2, huge game, highly anticipated, same situation. It got canceled an hour and a half before tip-off. And both coaches said, we want to reschedule this game. But the reality was, with them being in different leagues and having to coordinate travel and figuring out a time to do it, it couldn't get done. And thankfully they played in the national title, and so it all worked out. But I mean, I just think there's too many hurdles, too many logistical impossibilities to make it happen. Especially since Tennessee really doesn't have, that late February break in its schedule like some programs do. It's just not really going to. I don't see, practically speaking, how they would logistically make it work.
Yeah, and I just don't see any other team of value that the Tigers could really add to their schedule, from whether it's a power conference or just a good team that would want to do it with all these unvaccinated players. With that, though, if say they don't add another game, and let's say they get through their 18-game conference schedule in one piece, what does the record in conference have to be for them to even have a chance to sort of sniff March?
Yeah, I mean, last year I think it ended up being 11-4. I think after the some of the COVID pauses and stuff. So I guess something around that 75 to 80% win range in AAC play, because their non-conference resume is, I think, a little bit better. Now they're going to have to become like the biggest fans of Murray State and Georgia.
Yep.
Obviously, because those losses could be pretty bad. But I think the key for Memphis is just going to be playing with that sense of urgency. Like last year, they lost twice to Tulsa. You know what I mean? Like, if you can avoid those abysmal losses or, limit them, I think they're going to be okay, because the 2 of the 4 losses that they picked up in conference play last year, were Tulsa. And so, say you lose 5 games in the league this year, I mean, as long as one of those is not a home loss in a quad 4, type of situation, I still think they've got a chance, because that Virginia Tech win is really good, and obviously the Alabama win is phenomenal. So, I mean, Memphis, honestly, every team that they've played so far this season, you got to become the biggest fan of those teams. And then you got to do something like 14-4, in the league, I think, to have a shot.
Yeah, and rescheduling a game would be fantastic. I just don't see that happening. Now, the IARP, talking about off the court, IARP has made a ruling finally on NC State. No postseason ban, which is probably you'll probably be able to comment on this after I get done, but probably a good thing to hear if you're a Memphis fan. But former coach Mark Gottfried gets a 1-year show cause. Former assistant gets a 6-year show cause because of the $40,000 payment to Dennis Smith Jr. What does this have any bearing on what Memphis fans and Memphis as an institution should think?
I mean, if you want to parse some meaning from it, I think you can. Like the no postseason ban thing is an encouraging sign. Now, it's the IARP, so there's not – I mean, it's the first ruling.
Right.
It's still kind of affiliated.
We went
with
from
the
0 to
NCAA.
1.
Yeah, so you really – I mean, you still never know. But, I mean, all in all, yeah, I actually would say, like, you know, fairly encouraging. So even the 1 year show cause on Mark Gottfried, you know, say that were to be a penalty for Memphis or something. That actually wouldn't be that big of a deal. It wouldn't be catastrophic because the show causes for active coaches are actually like, you know, not as terrible as they are if you're like have already been fired or get fired as a result of what's going to happen. Memphis is stuck by Penny Hardaway, so like it's not like he's going to get fired because of what the IARP did. Even like Bruce Pearl recently only got a 2-game suspension for their NCAA ruling as a result of some of the FBI stuff. So I don't know. I mean, given the severity of what NC State is alleged to have done back then, and looking at that Pearl that Pearl ruling from the NCAA, it's hard for me to see Memphis really getting the hammer. Honestly, right. I mean, I would be pretty surprised based on those rulings if it were a postseason ban. But obviously the NCAA and Memphis don't have the best past, and the IARP is still a little bit of a wild card. But if it is a show cause, I wouldn't panic because, like, just remember, Dan Mullen coached this past season for Florida with a show cause, and like nobody talked about it, so it wouldn't be the end of the world.
What would go on behind the scenes with a show cause? Just curiously, do you know?
I mean, in the Mullen case, which is honestly the only one in recent memory that I can remember of like an active coach getting one, it was like recruiting restrictions because, it was for all the talk about how.
But not like loss of scholarship or anything like that, or is it just sort of what you're able to do on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, I mean that all that loss of scholarship, like a limited number of official visits, and whatever. Right. Those are kind of like the generic, like okay, whatever. We were prepared for this types of penalties. Like I'm sure Memphis is bracing for at least some of that stuff, but none of that is honestly that catastrophic. Like and Memphis is still carries 13 scholarship guys, so like it could put them in a little bit of an awkward position in the seasons to come. But with how many players transfer in and transfer out, they'll be able to make the numbers work. But yeah, there's always going to be some of those recruiting restrictions anytime you get a ruling like that, but they honestly don't often rise to the level of being crippling to a program.
So a couple games I want to talk about in the SEC before we get to college football. Hofstra upsets Arkansas 89-81. Arkansas was really bad. Their starting five was terrible, David. I mean, they didn't have a single guy in double figures in their starting lineup. They had to get Chris Likes and J.D. Note to do everything for them off the bench. What do you think of that Arkansas team? Maybe a tad bit overrated coming into the season with what they lost?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what kind of calls our guy Drew Barrett is fielding over in Arkansas.
I can only imagine.
I'm sure they're none too thrilled. So Arkansas played a super easy non-conference schedule and let them pad their win total. I mean, their marquee victories are Kansas State and Cincinnati, which I mean are name programs kind of, but teams that aren't really very good. And so that's what they were working with. And then they lost to Oklahoma. The Hofstra thing is pretty unbelievable because so what happened with Hofstra is that, I mean, they
played close with Houston earlier in the year, right?
They did, yeah, and then they took Maryland down to the wire. And so, like, they had shown they could hang, but what made Saturday's win for Hofstra so wild over Arkansas in North Little Rock is where they played it, is so Hofstra flew down to D.C. to catch a flight into Little Rock the night before the game. But as they were on the plane, after they had already boarded, it got canceled for, I think it was a mechanical issue or something on the plane.
That's scary.
Yeah, they had to deplane. They had like Speedy Claxton, their coach, said they had 23 guys in a traveling party. And so they couldn't just book that many people onto the next flight and hop right on another plane. So they actually had to stay the night in D.C., and then they flew into Little Rock, several hours before the game.
Wow.
Didn't even really get a chance to do a walkthrough. And then they go out there and they beat Arkansas. And one of their top scorers in that game for Hofstra was a kid who transferred in from Arkansas They call him Bam Bam. He's got a mouthful of the name, but he just went off on his old team. So that's what I'm saying, man.
It's just what they needed, David.
No, man. The folks in Arkansas have got to be a little stressed, I think, going into SEC play on the heels of that loss.
No question, because then you look over at what Kentucky did this weekend against North Carolina. North Carolina, I thought, had played really well defensively going into that game. Lose 98-69. Severe Wheeler had 26. How good is Kentucky this year?
That was huge for them because going into that game, their marquee win was against Ohio. I mean, their non-conference schedule, they've got some bigger names on it, but like the kind of midweek schedule filler games from November and December were just terrible. I mean, so they hadn't played really anybody or beaten anybody. They lost at Notre Dame last Saturday. They just didn't have any meat on the resume. And then they go out and they slap North Carolina by almost 30. And I was a UNC team that was starting to play a lot better because their defense had been awful early in the year, giving up a lot of points to some bad teams. And then, over their last 5, they had been really good, and they had held Michigan to 51. So you're looking at this Kentucky team that hadn't beaten anybody going to play a UNC team that looks like it's figuring it out. And then all of a sudden, Kentucky just slaps them and wins by 30. That was really surprising and honestly pretty terrible for the ACC. Like, the ACC and the AAC might get us, the same number of bids in the NCAA tournament this year. And honestly, the AAC at least has a shot to get more because, I mean, after Duke, it is bad in the ACC. And
not even name recognition, not even knowing it's the ACC is going to get.
Maybe in the end, but like you got Virginia Tech and Wake Forest that are like basically propping that league up right now because. Wow. Based on your net rankings, I don't know if anybody beyond those two and Duke would get in. I mean, North Carolina, we would presume will get it together. But, I mean, after that performance, is there any guarantee? I don't know. I mean, you got to remember Hubert Davis has taken over a UNC program that wasn't exactly, operating at peak efficiency in the last couple of years under Roy Williams. So, I mean, there's an assumption with a name like that, but I don't know. I mean, what they end up doing, it feels like a lot of times is, as a team like UNC, they really want them in the dance, and so they just end up sticking them in the first 4.
Mm-hmm. Who's the conference this year that you look at as the best conference in college basketball? Or are there a couple?
I would still probably go with the Big 12 because I mean between Baylor and Kansas, you got two just absolutely clear-cut national title contenders. Baylor is just reloaded and is really good again. Kansas is a lot deeper. Agbaji is just like taking a huge step forward. Mm-hmm. He looks awesome. And then they got some depth too. I mean, Iowa State still has not lost. So that Memphis loss to them is holding up pretty well. And then like Texas Tech. It's only a 10-team league. And Oklahoma State can't go to the NCAA tournament. So you only got 9 teams in that league this year that can go to the dance. And, people seem to think there will be 7 of them, probably who do. So it's not a big league, but everybody in it can play. So, I mean, I would give the nod at this point to the Big 12, especially with the way that the Big 10 has struggled.
Talking with David Cobb from CBS Sports at David W. Cobb on Twitter. Now, in college football, we're in bowl season. We have Tulsa, I think, whooping up on Old Dominion at the moment. As far as the coaching carousel is concerned, are there any hires that have sort of blown you away that you think are absolute smash hits this offseason?
Well, I think Lincoln Riley stands out to me to USC as like, I think he's going to be really good there. And like, signing day last week, I ended up writing about this kid who commits to them. Not even an offensive guy. They got to commit from like the number 7 overall player in the country, and he's a corner. So I'm like, oh snap! If Lincoln Riley's going to be able to recruit like that on the defensive side of the ball too, like it won't be long,
Mm-hmm. And they're not competing against much with Mario out at Oregon right now, and we'll talk about it. I'll bring up Dan Lanning and what they did in getting Bo Nix. The other one I look at, David, and I don't know your feeling on it, Mario Cristobal to Miami seems like a really good hire at the moment, considering they took Clemson's AD, Dan Radakovich. They have a lot. They have a big pool to hire assistants with. And then you look over at Clemson, you look at the ACC, it's down. I mean, Clemson just lost OC, DC, AD, and it seems like Miami's trying to pour the money in there right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a shot to do pretty well there. I mean, I think the quarterback is going to stay, Van Dyke, who really looked good, these last few weeks for Miami after De'Aaron King's injury. And then, I mean, yeah, Clemson is on what I would say is, the cusp of its most important offseason in program, the last decade, certainly since Dabo was hired. So that the ACC could very much turn into a situation where it's up for grabs. I mean, in the Coastal, Pitt is losing Kenny Pickett at quarterback. That's going to, have a huge impact on their program. Although they're bringing in Zach Calzada from Texas A&M, who will be good, but he's not going to be Kenny Pickett. So anyway, that division, again, is the same situation as Lincoln Riley, where if Mario Cristobal does a decent job in year one, he could have that program in contention to win the division. Because, I mean, let's see, Duke is in that division. They've got a new coach. Virginia Tech in that division. They've got a new coach, Brent Pry, replacing Justin Fuente. Virginia is in that division. They've got a new coach with Tony Elliott replacing Bronco Mendenhall. So, I mean, the whole thing is up for grabs with Pickett being gone. So, I mean, unless Mac Brown and UNC finally break through and become kind of who we thought they might be this year, yeah, you're right, man. There's a great opportunity there for him to make some real noise right out of the gate.
Also in the ACC, how bad was losing Travis Hunter for Mike Norvell? I mean that seriously. And look, I don't take Twitter Spaces all that seriously, but they did have a Twitter Spaces for a full day saying fire Mike Norvell. It's the whole fan base. It's a lot of guys, former players, and everything else. It seemed losing Travis Hunter to Deion was a brutal blow for him.
I feel bad for that Florida State staff. I genuinely feel sympathy for them, because not only was Travis Hunter a big, commitment for Florida State, but he had been committed to them for over a year and a half. So he was, the guy they had been banking on all along, and he had rebuffed, overtures from who knows how many schools who are doing a lot better on the field, and it was because that was his program. That was the place where he had family. He was, a Florida State fan since, he was a little kid, and there was just no way he was going to leave that class. And there was no sign of it, at 9 a.m. on signing day either. So to get the rug pulled out from under them like that after how bad that season went for them, it's just, I honestly, I feel sick for them, and I know people have trouble feeling sympathy for people who make a lot of money.
Right.
I understand that, but still, put yourself in Mike Norvell's shoes. He knows that was about the worst possible thing that could have happened to him.
Okay.
And into that class. It's just, it's awful.
So let's say Mike Norvell struggles again next year and they're looking for a new coach. Does Deion get consideration, or do they hold that against him?
Man, that's another one where I would love to be a fly on the wall right now.
Just to hear what they're saying about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Deion Sanders is one of the most storied players in that program's history. A 3-time All-American who helped Bobby Bowden build that program into a national power. And now he is taking their prized recruit, as a coach at Jackson State. I don't know. I think we all saw that photo. I know you probably did, about the there was this diehard Florida State fan on Twitter who burned all of his Deion.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's ridiculous.
Is that indicative of the whole fan base? No, probably not. But there's definitely that sentiment in there. So I don't know. Can you ignore the fact that they went 11-1 on the field this year? I don't know. That's
11-2 by the end of it.
That's true. They did
the
lose
bowl
the
game.
Celebration Bowl. Yeah. But I don't know. I would still have questions. Everything that happened at Prime Prep with the way that went down raises a lot of red flags. If you're a high major athletic director, I don't know. It would be kind of Penny Hardaway getting hired at Memphis, but to another level.
I made that exact. It seems like that, and it seems like a lot of people in that fan base sort of are calling for it to a certain extent. I don't know how excited they were about Mike Norvell when he got hired, and then now seeing him lose out on recruits, it definitely is starting to heat up on him. But that would be interesting if just one that one thing, and say he goes 6-6 next year and they don't like that and he ends up getting fired eventually, that one recruit comes back and bites him like that. And it was a signing day flip.
What if Dion has Jackson State at again, 11-1?
And it seems by all accounts he should be. He's got the superior talent, and they seem to be coached up relatively well, although South Carolina State definitely took a whooping to him. I mean, they got after him.
They did. My big question, though, would just be same as with Penny. It's you've never coached at that level before. Who can you surround yourself with who's going to help you actually master the schematics of what's going on at one of the highest levels of the sport? Because there's a huge jump between FCS and FBS. So I don't know that he would.
It's not high school. It's not high school to D1 college basketball, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, he would just have to get really, really big time coordinators, I think.
Yes, and he knows he's got a lot of connections. It seems to me, but we'll see what happens. Last thing for you. Oregon hires Dan Lanning. They bring in Kenny Dillingham. I'm very familiar with those guys. Really like those guys. They're young, though. There's no question about it. I know the Oregon former players at Oregon sent a letter in to the AD saying they wanted Justin Wilcox. Justin Wilcox then, obviously, the coach at Cal said that he was not going to take the job. They were not happy about that. Now they get Bo Nix to commit. What do you think about what's going on at Oregon?
That's a pretty good get. I mean, that's going to be an upgrade, I think, over Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown was a game manager, not a type of guy who was going to make game-breaking plays for you. Bo Nix, a little bit more of a chaos agent.
Right.
So he's going to have two really good options. It doesn't look like, or at least Ty Thompson has not yet entered the transfer portal, and he's a really good true freshman who they had on the roster behind Anthony Brown at quarterback this year. So if they can keep Ty Thompson in the fold, and he'll be a redshirt freshman next year, between Bo Nix and Ty Thompson, I mean, Kenny Dillingham will have two really good quarterbacks to work with there out of the gate. So I haven't seen, a mass, exodus from Oregon via the transfer portal yet. I mean, it could still happen. You never know. But I think from a roster standpoint, the Bo Nix thing pops. That's going to generate some eyeballs and give them a chance to be a much better offensive team. And honestly, I think that's a huge part of Oregon's brand is offense.
Right.
And honestly,
they got away from
under
it.
Cristobal, it wasn't entertaining offense. And if Bo Nix is going to be their starting quarterback, it will be.
That's a great point, David, because they had that spread out Chip Kelly offense, DeAnthony Thomas running, ragged on everybody, returning kicks, being very exciting, and they did get away from it. They tried to be better in the trenches. They tried to be good on the defensive side of the ball, and they've sort of gotten away from what their identity was. But David, we always appreciate it, man.
All right, talk to you next week.
All right, have a good one, David. At David W. Cobb on Twitter to follow David and his work. Also, you can go to cbssports.com to find all of his writing. When we come back on the other side, we switch gears to a certain extent, and we talk with Evan Barnes about Tigers football. They left for Hawaii. They left for the islands yesterday, and it looks like they're already having a little bit of fun down there. We'll talk to him about that when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane bring you Sports 56 Grind Time. Brought to you by Poultry Power. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now at Banana Republic Factory, 50 to 70% off everything. Discover winter essentials, holiday party looks, last-minute gifts, and more from $14.99. Find your nearest store or shop online. Only at Banana Republic Factory.
You might not know me, but I'm Zip with the ZipCat construction app.
Why are you collecting leftover construction materials, Zip?
I'm turning it into cash.
That's easy. You can turn leftover materials into cash. Keep it out of dumpsters and help the environment.
That's why they call me Zip, the construction guru. Also, ZipCat app saves you time and money. Lets you describe a job, name your price, and get a job done.
That's smart, Zip. You're amazing.
General contractors, take a few minutes, price a job, and get it done. Download the free ZipCat app in the Apple Store or Google Play. Best tool in your toolbox.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview of the Bears hosting the Vikings. The NFC North rivalry game will give Minnesota a shot to improve their playoff bubble position. 6-7, they're coming off a big win over the Steelers and a 10-day rest. The return of star running back Dalvin Cook was key in that victory, and now their postseason hopes. Cook says his 205-yard rushing performance last week was a team effort.
They did a great job of blocking for me tonight. Receivers, tight ends, everybody did a great job of blocking for me tonight. And, I was just hitting the holes and, trying to find some space out there.
The Bears are coming off a tough loss at Green Bay, and at 4-9 take on the role of spoiler. Kevin Harlan and Hall of Famer Kurt Warner will have the call of the Vikings at the Bears on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Halfway there, Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. No stats until the new year. He'll be back January 3rd. Brian Dacus in producing. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Text to join the show. Also, you can watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at Sports56WHBQ.com. Tigers football team traveled to Hawaii yesterday ahead of their game on Christmas Eve against Hawaii. And to talk about that, we bring on our good friend from the Commercial Appeal, Evan Barnes, at Evan_B on Twitter. Evan, how's it going, man?
I'm good, Gabe. How are we doing?
All right, man. It was a I don't know how to put it. It was a tough weekend in the city, to say the least, with all that was going on with Tennessee and Memphis, wasn't
it? It's strange. Like, literally, it's strange. That's all I can say. It's very strange.
So Tigers leave yesterday, and I found this interesting. Depth chart came out. There's a couple notes that you mentioned. What were those?
Well, Brandon Thomas is not on the depth chart at running back, which is a good sign that he is probably not going to play, which will be 4 out of 5 games he's missed, which kind of isn't surprising. I mean, he hadn't played. It didn't, we hadn't really gotten any indication about his status. We'll probably hear more from Ryan Stoerfield after practice to confirm that or to see what more he can say about it. But Brandon Thomas obviously hadn't played the last few weeks, so probably means he will not be in the Hawaii Bowl. And then the second note was Eddie Lewis has been moved up to starting wide receiver with Gabe Rogers and Javon Ivory now that Calvin Austin's opted out.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting with Brandon Thomas. When they took him out with all the fumbles and everything, you sort of wonder how much that demoralized him and the time. And to see him not on the depth chart is certainly concerning. We'll see what happens, though, with that. As far as the Tigers, what they have ahead of them against Hawaii, you're going to have a backup quarterback, it looks like. I don't think Chavon Cordero is going to hop back out of the portal just to play this game. At least I haven't seen it be reported that way, so it'll be Braden Shager and Seth Hennigan, who actually played against each other in the 5A Texas playoffs in 2020. What do you expect to see out of this matchup? What kind of team do you think they have at Hawaii with the opt-outs and the transfer portal and everything that's going on with their program?
Well, I'm just going to be curious to just kind of see how they start. I mean, there's been reports about just kind of how there's a lot of anger in among the players at Todd Graham, the head coach, and how things are going over there and how he's kind of, hurt morale a little bit. But it seems like they have, patched things up, and I emphasize the word patch because this is going to take more than just a couple of weeks to sort out, I think. But I think Memphis is probably going to see a Hawaii team that's probably going to want to show, hey, all the stuff that's come out, we still want to try to win a game and get back to 500. So I think you're going to see a team that's definitely going to try to come out here and, want to prove itself, especially at home. So I don't think Memphis absolutely can, and they're not, of course, because, again, Memphis needs to win to get to 500.
Right.
I don't think they're going to overestimate or look past this team because Hawaii still has some pretty good defensive guys over there who can make it hard for them.
Yeah, Tigers are 8.5-point favorites, but traveling there to their backyard is interesting. I mean, it's interesting to say the least. As far as I don't know how much jet lag is involved. It's a 4-hour difference, but 4-hour difference is pretty substantial in the grand scheme of things. Going into the offseason, what did you think of their signing class that they just sort of had with the early signing period, and how much do you think they're trying to address things right this second? It looked like they got some O-line and D-line out of the JUCO ranks.
Well, I think that you mentioned the key word. I don't think it's O-line or D-line. It's JUCO. I mean, I think, a third of the guys they signed, at least to start the opening a third of the guys who they signed are from junior colleges. Mm-hmm. And I think that tells me that Memphis is trying to win right. They're trying to fix some things right now. Clearly, there's a sense of they want players who can make an immediate impact. They know the transfer portal didn't go so well. So I think what I see is they're trying to get players who can immediately help, like getting that tight end Anthony Lanphier, getting some linemen and a few linebackers in the JUCO ranks. I think that's exactly kind of what Memphis is thinking, because they know they can't have another bad year like this year. They can't have another year that was disappointing to the fan base. So what's a quick fix you can use? Go get junior college players. So I think that lets you know that Memphis is indefinitely trying to win now, because they know that next year is going to be a very pivotal year, given all the change that could happen with realignment in 2023.
Yeah, and something interesting, and they try to go get a couple of O-linemen, I believe, out of the JUCO ranks to help now. With the run game and how it's been the last 2 years down the stretch of the season, and this is abstract, we've had very brief conversations about this. What do you think it is? Is it scheme, or do you think it's that they've just been hurt and have had to play some young guys?
Gabe, you've asked me that the last couple of weeks, and I feel like I almost feel like we have kind of exhausted some of the same answers.
Right.
I mean, I think it goes back to coaching. It goes back to just kind of like how can the coaching figure this out? Because you don't all of a sudden go from being one of the better running back programs, the last few years in terms of output, to being, one of the worst in the AAC this year. So it goes back to coaching. Memphis has to find a way to fix it, and if that means getting some more alignment, it means, readdressing the scheme. This is where the coaches are going to have to really put their heads together and try to figure it out, because that's going to be their number one issue. And I expect to see, let's wait and see kind of what happens. Ryan Schofield said that he wouldn't address any coaching changes until after the bowl game or after the new year. So let's see what happens there, and, we'll keep an eye out.
Was there anything of note before they sent off? I know he had a presser over the weekend, Ryan Silverfield. Was there anything of note that came out of those pressers that is worth sort of mentioning?
Nothing, not too.
Right.
I mean, Charles Clark, the defensive backs coach, is going to be coaching the defense as interim DC during the bowl game. So that's going to be noteworthy. Obviously, he's somebody who is familiar with Mike McIntyre's system, having coached with him at multiple stops. So I think that was very important to hear. But overall, I mean, I don't really know, because, again, when we talked to offensive coordinator Kevin Johns on Monday, we kind of just talked about just kind of what to expect from this Hawaii defense. And with Ryan, I think it was partly both about the excitement about the signing class, but also kind of getting ready for a Hawaii team that's going to be, present some challenges. So I think if you're Memphis, I would say that the off season is going to require a lot more evaluation and thought behind it. But I think for right now, the focus is, can we make sure we beat Hawaii to get to over 500 and win a second straight bowl game?
Right, and that would be big. That would be big considering how this year went. With the open defensive coordinator position, I know they put Charles Clark as the interim for the bowl game. Do you have any sense of when they may start to address that and when they may make a hire? Do you think it'll be quickly after the bowl game, or do you think they'll wait some time?
Well, Ryan said that he's going to make, he'll probably make changes after the bowl game, and it'll probably be after the year is what he told us. So I expect that we'll see some things happening, after they all get back from Christmas break. But I wouldn't be surprised if they've already been talking to some people.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's already been some interviews on campus already. I'm sure Ryan is doing his due diligence. And so I would be, curious to see what happens. And also, don't be surprised if maybe they turn in-house, because remember, linebackers coach Jordan Hankins, I believe he was the defensive coordinator at UT Martin for a year or two. So, I mean, there's a few options that Ryan can go to, but I do believe that that's probably going to be one of his priorities, is to figure out, who he's going to who he's going to make as his DC. If he's going to go outside of Memphis, if he's going to go internally, if anyone's going to follow Mike McIntyre to Florida International. All that stuff's going to probably be a series of moving parts, kind of like 2 years ago when Mike Norvell went to Florida State, and literally after the bowl game was over, we were seeing announcements from Florida State on people that I'm literally talking to being hired. So it could be like that, but we'll see. It's all going to be kind of fluid, I think, after the bowl game.
Last thing for you, Evan. Calvin Austin III won't participate in the bowl game. I thought very, very good business decision. We've talked about it in the past. What do you think about his NFL draft possibilities? How highly do you think teams sort of think of him right now?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting because with Calvin, unlike, say, Anthony Miller or Antonio Gibson or even Kenny Gainwell, I think there's going to be probably some questions about his size and just kind of, maybe some questions about his, about his speed. Obviously, we've seen Calvin run past guys in the AAC, and we saw him run past Mississippi State. But there probably will be some questions that he has to answer about, what is his role going to be in the NFL? Because obviously he was the number one receiver here, but in the NFL, rarely do you see a number one receiver who's 5'9". So I think there's going to be some questions about kind of where he fits. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye on what he does in the Senior Bowl, because that's usually a good indicator of how highly he's been thought of in terms of, wanting to be evaluated more. So we'll see. But I have not seen him as high on draft boards, among other receivers. And I think it's just going to be really interesting to kind of see what happens over these showcases and what happens if he gets a chance to go to the combine, because that's probably where he'll have to continue to prove himself a little bit.
Yep. It really seems like the two guys that are being looked at very closely in the NFL draft this year, Dylan Parham and Calvin Austin, seems like they're going to have to be late risers, right? The sort of ball at the Senior Bowl, get a combine invite, show what you can do in a combine setting, and then probably get some looks during the draft. I am very, very interested to see how that works out. Now, Calvin Austin, though, this year, truly, I don't know how much light you can shed on it, but as far as injuries are concerned and his ankles were concerned, how much really was he fighting through?
We saw him. After that Tulsa game, I think that's when we really noticed he was really starting to hurt. And you could see how Memphis was basically holding him out for a couple of those games in November, where he literally was being brought in as kind of like spot duty on a pitch count.
Right.
So he was fighting through it. If you saw his numbers weren't great. The Houston game, literally, I just remember seeing him limp to the sideline or limp to the next play, and I'm just thinking he should not be playing in this game much longer. Just because, again, there's toughness, and you admire toughness, but there also has to be a sense of production, right? Like, you can't just be out there gritting it out and not helping things a little bit. So I thought he was really fighting, because you saw how his numbers changed. I believe after Tulsa, he had his second 200-yard game, and then he only had one 100-yard game after that. So he was fighting through it. But fortunately for him, he was able to kind of, get a little bit, better in that senior game, in that last game against Tulane. And, we're just going to have to see what happens because, he's going to have a lot to prove, and I think he will do a great job of showing everyone why his story was such a great Memphis story.
And it no doubt. And what they've done, I just, it's unbelievable to think that program and, me coming through and seeing how many guys that were walk-ons. I don't know what's in the water here in Memphis, but it just seems to work out that way with walk-on guys. Preferred walk-ons come in and ball out, and it leads to NFL careers. But, Evan, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you, Gabe. You take care. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays
yep.
to you.
To you, too. To you, too. Appreciate it, Evan. At Evan_B, if you want to follow Evan and his work. You can also go to commercialappeal.com. When we come back from the break, want to talk about some of these bowl games. Want to talk about Dion, Coach Prime, and how they fared in their bowl game. We'll do that when we come back. College football recap news, and we have a couple of picks to make right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. The NFL playoffs, they're almost here. And to help you stay on top of the action, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you a $10 bonus when you place $20 in same-game parlay bets. Bet on a single game or spread your bets out across multiple matchups. It's up to you. As long as you bet $20 in same-game parlays during the same week of NFL action, you're getting a $10 bonus. Kirk Cousins, over 1.5 touchdowns. Justin Fields, to throw interceptions. So many great options. Fast payouts, easy to use, safe and secure. That's what makes FanDuel America's #1 sportsbook. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up using promo code CASH to place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. That's promo code CASH exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Hit up the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, everyone. This is Greg Gaston from Sports 56 Mornings. I want to send a heartfelt wish for a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year to all our loyal listeners. And remember, when you wake up, please tune into Sports 56 Mornings with Eli Savoy and me. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
So if you're like me and still have some last-minute shopping to do, you need to check out Kohl's. I got my husband the green Fitbit Versa 3 for $169.99, found some great toys for 50% off, and got silver jewelry my mom is gonna love for just $17.59. I even saved an extra 20% and got Kohl's cash. So I guess you could say I got everything just in the nick of time. Get it? Select styles. Ends December 24th. Price valid on green Fitbit Versa 3 only. Toys and Fitbit. Coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Costco for details.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear you're making everybody holiday happy over at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
That's right, Randy. We're closing the year with the Gossett Kia Command the Season sales event.
Not to mention, every Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
Plus, right now, I've got 2022 Kia Forte 179, only $27.99 due at signing. Or get a 2022 Kia Sportage LX $199 per month, or 2022 Kia Sorento $279 a month. Both $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, and let's not forget Lewisburg, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sorrento NGO 92178, MSRP $30,875. Sportage N 7017,625, MSRP $25,815. Forte 8429,506, MSRP $21,035. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 103/21. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Got some college football going on right now. In the fourth quarter, 5 minutes and 38 seconds left to go. Tulsa has the lead in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, presented by Tax Act, if you're wondering. 30-17, and it looks like they are driving 2nd and 8 from the Tulsa 32, so it looks like they're about to put the finishing touches on that. Over the weekend, we had a bunch of bowls. Middle Tennessee on Friday. I think we talked about that on Friday. They get the win over Toledo, 31-24. Coastal Carolina, and that was a good game back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Coastal and Northern. Very good game. Coastal gets a stop in the red zone at the very end to win 47-41. Grayson McCall, 315 yards, 4 TDs. Very, very good game for him to end the year. Interesting one here. UAB gets a win over BYU. That was surprising to see.
Love to see that, yeah.
Although Tyler Algier, Jaron Hall actually sat for BYU. Tyler Algier, 27 carries, 192 yards, 3 TDs, and a loss. That's something else. Louisiana, even though Billy Napier's out the door to Florida, they get the win over Marshall, 36-21. They did that all really late, and Marshall tried to stick in there. Had a good running game going, but didn't last. Western Kentucky, who is just the best in bowl games. When I played against them, in the Boca Raton Bowl, 59-31. They win this one against App State, 59-38. And the very interesting thing about this one is that you have to give a shout to Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zapp. Breaks the single-season record for passing yards, which is now 5,967. He beats B.J. Simon's record, 5,833, and Graham Harrell, both Texas Tech quarterbacks under Mike Leach. So that was a good run. That was that was 2 quarterbacks in a row for Mike Leach. He did that with B.J. Simons.
Oh, wow.
And
wasn't it?
Graham Harrell were back-to-back. Had way more success with Graham Harrell, but B.J. Simons definitely racked up some yards. Bailey Zapp breaks that record. He also beats Joe Burrow's TD pass record. I believe by one. I think he finished with 61 TDs this year and 11 INTs. But that was a substantial accomplishment for Bailey Zapp. He had 6 TD passes in that game.
Total.
62. So he won by 2. 6 TDs in that game, 422 total pass yards. Fresno State gets the win over UTEP, 31-24. Liberty, I didn't know if Malik Willis was playing. He played.
Yeah, he did.
He sure played. 56-20. 56-20. He threw for 231 and 3 TDs. Utah State gets the win over Oregon State, 24-13, in the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
Boo.
We need a new Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, why not? Who else would it be?
Yes.
Bryant Dacus, LA Bowl.
Hey, why not?
Bryant Dacus, LA Bowl. We have a couple of picks to make, though. Let's go ahead and make those now. Tuesday, 2:30 ESPN. Tomorrow, because we will not be in here as of right now, Ole Miss versus Samford. We are going to have the coverage of that game. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Kent State and Wyoming. Wyoming minus the 3.5. I'm going to take Wyoming minus the 3.5. Let's go for it. What do you guys have?
I'm going to take Wyoming. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to take Kent State. Did I say Wyoming? I'm going to take Kent State. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Wyoming might be able to pull it out, but I do think it's going to be a close game. And then Brett, he is also going to take Kent State.
Kent State. Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about Kent State, man.
You never know in these bowl games.
The other game, 6:30, ESPN Frisco Bowl. Really good matchup, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
UTSA versus San Diego State. UTSA fresh off a win in the Conference USA Championship. Good for them. San Diego State minus the 2.5 in this one. I'm going to go with the favorite again. I'm going San Diego State minus the 2.5 here.
Yeah, I'm also going to take San Diego State, but Brett, he's going to not give us a group lock once again. He's going to go UTSA.
UTSA has a lot to fight for.
They
and
sure
they
do.
Still, I mean, I can't believe Brady Hoke's still at San Diego State. I mean, just, everything full circle with him after that Michigan fallout. And then Traylor at UTSA, I like how he coaches. He's done a really good job with that program. Obviously soon to be in the AAC. Good for them. A couple things of note. Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett and Michigan State running back Kenneth Walker III will sit out the Peach Bowl, and they have declared for the NFL draft in 2022. And also, this is an interesting one. Bo Nix. I know we talked about it with David Cobb. We talked to him at 4 o'clock. But Bo Nix commits to Oregon with Dan Lanning getting the job there and his former offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham. And I really do like those guys. Those guys are very good with their players, very relatable. I wonder how, it's going to be a learning process. It's weird because I see a lot of people with this hire. They're both, 35, 34, very young guys.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people talk about it not being a good hire. They're taking a chance. I think it's too early to say that. I don't think you can say with certainty that either of these guys are flops yet. Now, Bo Nix is going to go in there. Anthony Brown, who was their starter this year, is still there. Ty Thompson, who's a 4-star, very good player, very, very good player on the 247 rankings. He was a true freshman this year. He's still there for now. And Jay Butterfield, who is a 4-star, still there. And interesting stat here, Bo Nix, national passer rating. His 3 seasons at Auburn. In 2019, he was 84th. 2020, 82nd. 2021, 86th. Anthony Brown, who a lot of Oregon fans do not like in the slightest. Not very good at throwing the ball. Made some very spotty decisions down the stretch of that season. He was 64th in passer rating in his 1 year with Oregon. So we'll see where Bo Nix fits in. But it seems like Dan Lanning and Kenny Dillingham have their guy. That'll do it for hour number 2. When we come back for hour number 3, we're going to start it off with some Grizzlies talk, get to some NFL news and some playoff picture. We have to do our Monday Night Football pick preview and our big 4 for the Vikings at Bears. We'll also pick Rams and Seahawks. When we get out at 5:45, we'll be doing Taco Bell Crunch Time right here on Sports 56 98.5.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. 1 week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear you're making everybody holiday happy over at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
That's right, Randy. We're closing the year with the Gossett Kia Command the Season sales event.
Not to mention, every Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
Plus, right now, I've got 2022 Kia Forte 179, only $27.99 due at signing. Or get a 2022 Kia Sportage LX 199 per month, or 2022 Kia Sorento $279 a month. Both $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, and let's not forget Lewisburg, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sorrento NGO 92178, MSRP $30,875. Sportage N7017,625, MSRP $25,815. Forte $84,29,506, MSRP $21,035. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 103/21. Dealer stock only.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel, and the holidays are here, and FanDuel Sportsbook has a gift for all new customers. No, not a new pair of slippers. We're talking about 30-1 odds on any Christmas Day NBA game or NFL game. Sign up at FanDuel Sportsbook and bet on any team to win any of the 7 marquee matchups taking place on Christmas. And if your bet wins, you'll be paid out 30 times your wager. That's right, a $5 bet can be turned into $150. It's simple and easy to use, and there's no better place to bet the college football championships than at America's #1 sportsbook. And when you win, FanDuel will pay you your winnings in as little as 2 hours. Don't miss your chance to win $150 on a $5 bet. Sign up with promo code CASH to place your first FanDuel Sportsbook wager on any NBA or NFL Christmas Day game for exclusive 30-1 odds. Again, promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour 3 is here, and the Grizzlies are in action tonight. Second night of a back-to-back. They'll be playing the Thunder. Last time the Thunder were in town, it was pretty lopsided. Most lopsided in NBA history. Grizzlies won 152-78, I believe was the final tally. Or 79, sorry. I was one off. One off. They won by 73. But tonight, there's a pretty substantial injury report, and there's some good news on it to a certain extent. Out still, we're going to have Santi Aldama out, Brandon Clark, Sam Merrill, Zaire Williams is out. He's got health and safety protocols as well. He went into COVID protocol. Ja is out of COVID protocol. and he's questionable tonight after that left knee sprain. So he and Tyus Jones are questionable for the game tonight. But over the weekend, the Grizzlies did relatively well. Talked about it in my top story of the day, won 124-105, running away from the Kings. And that made it 10 of 11 without Ja. They lost to the Blazers at home last night, 105-100. They let Norman Powell and Damian Lillard get their game off, and that was a big problem. Bane struggled. Jaren Jackson Jr. struggled. If two of the three of Dillon Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane struggle, you're generally going to have a hard time winning a ball game, especially with the Ja-less Grizzlies. Now, Grizzlies have still been playing relatively well, and you sort of wonder what it's going to look like with Ja getting back into the fold. And, Bryant, the one thing I hope I see with Ja back in the fold, I want to see Jaren still get his touches, still get his chances to score offensively.
Yeah, and I think it will, and we talked about this a little last week. I think it's better, or I think it's not better, but I think it's great that they're playing this well right now, because I think it will kind of take some of that weight off Ja. He won't have to feel like, I got to come in and do this and do that. I'm the superstar on the team. I'm the star player. I got to lead these guys to a win, because they've been winning without him. And so hopefully that will take some pressure off him, and he'll be able to move the ball better, and they'll be able to continue to play like they have been.
Of course. And Jaren Jackson Jr. last night fouled out. There's still this inconsistency with him. He's played really well in this stretch of basketball, but at the same time, it almost seems like he needs to find balance. There was a time where he was only taking 3-pointers, where he got nothing from inside the lane, and he was struggling. During this stretch, because he got more touches, he was starting to go in the lane, and he was finding success. But with that, he hasn't hit a 3-pointer in 4 games. So with Jaren, there's been this sort of up and down process, and you need to find a consistent sort of method to his madness. He needs to sort of find it. The balance hasn't quite been there.
Find that happy medium.
Yes, and it just hasn't been there yet. And you sort of wonder with Ja's return, is he going to be able to find that happy medium? It certainly concerns me. And defensively, Brian, I wonder what this team looks like. You're talking about a team who has 11 straight games with 10-plus steals. They've been jumping into passing lanes. They've been challenging everything at the rim. They haven't really been getting blown by consistently. And with all due respect to Ja on defense, people
Not
blow
a great
by
defender,
him.
yeah.
I wonder what defensively they're going to look like once Ja gets back in the fold.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Tyus has played some good defense. Melton has played great defense. Yep. That will be a question. And, it's what are you going to do with Ja? He's the defender he is. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, if you have anything to add, 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone listener line. Get in the zone, AutoZone. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. Surprise, surprise. Anthony Davis is hurt. MCL sprain. He did it versus the Timberwolves, and they got absolutely smacked around. Lakers, my gosh. Between the Timberwolves game and what we saw last night, they have looked miserably bad. They're still one game over 500, but a 4-week rehab for Anthony Davis.
Not good. And, I like AD. I know some other people at this station don't like AD, John Harden. But, I hate to see him get injured all the time. He's very injury prone, and I just hate to see it.
Now, here's the one thing that I think sort of saves the Lakers from themselves, the fact they went and got Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
You have one guy down, you still have 2 of the 3
right.
who can pick up that production. And I think for the most part, Russell Westbrook and LeBron next to each other can get it done. I think for the most part, that's the reason they went and got Russell Westbrook as opposed to Buddy Hield, right? When they were talking about Buddy Hield, you wondered, okay, if AD gets hurt, are they going to be able to pick it up? Is LeBron going to be able to be the guy that sort of at his age, at his advanced age, at 36, is he going to be the guy that puts everything on his shoulders anymore? And I think with Russell instead of Buddy, he certainly gets some of that onus taken off of him.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. I don't have anything to add to that. I agree.
Yeah, I hear you. In the NBA, though, COVID protocols, postponements yesterday.
It's hurting them.
Cavs, Hawks, Nuggets, Nets, Pelicans, 76ers. Today, Magic, Raptors. And Tuesday, we already have the Wizards and Nets postponed, at least for now. So we'll see where that heads.
Our boy Freddie Gillespie, though, was one of the guys picked up by the Magic.
That's the thing that's cracking me up. You talk about all of these guys on 10-day contracts and the two-way guys. Freddie Gillespie gets picked up. I love some of the names.
Love Freddie Gillespie.
Isaiah Thomas, Luke Cornett got picked up.
Oh,
love
Luke
names?
Cornett. That's
Any
a
other
throwback.
names?
I mean, there's been some others, but not that I can name off the top of my head.
That's been the interesting thing, is just seeing some of these guys come back. And the fact that, speaking of the Lakers, the fact that Isaiah Thomas is coming onto this team, and I'd have to go check right this second, but he's had double-digit points each night, and he's getting a bunch of playing time. I mean, that you should, if you want to be successful, and I don't know what the Lakers are going to be able to do to sort of blow up this roster and try to start from new this year. It just doesn't seem like they can do that. But when Isaiah Thomas is giving you the 13 in the starting lineup against the Bulls, and then against the Timberwolves, he came off the bench and scored 19. That does not bode well for what you are as a team. It just doesn't.
He has a chip on his shoulder.
I get that, but if you have to play him, defensively he has no chance out there.
Well, he's like
right. He's tiny, so that's if I'm the Lakers and I look at Isaiah Thomas as a main player on my team night to night right now through the COVID pandemic, yeah, you're gonna have some issues. You're certainly going to have some issues. Now, in the NFL, you go look at the playoff picture. I know I'm transitioning pretty tough there. You go look at the playoff picture in the NFL, and we're going to make our picks here on the other side.
And Big Four.
And we're going to do our Big Four for Monday Night Football. In the AFC, you have the Chiefs at 1, Patriots 2, Titans 3, Bengals rising up. AFC North division leaders right now at 4, Colts 5, Chargers 6, Bills 7. And in the hunt right now still, you got the Ravens. Ravens are not even in the playoffs if it started today. And the Browns and the Steelers. AFC North just needs to figure itself out. But of those teams in the AFC, I look at the Colts, and it just seems like they're the most dangerous team that's not being talked about at the moment necessarily.
Yeah, and they're really just hitting their stride right now. And I know I say it's HBO, but they're just playing well. And you talk about Jonathan Taylor, it's hard to stop him,
right?
And Carson Wentz has been playing better. So if I'm a team in that division, or really in the AFC, that's the team I'm most worried about.
Mm-hmm. And I hate this, but the Titans, it's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate, but the Titans are in a bad spot.
They're in a very bad spot.
Ever say that was just a death blow, a pure death blow. To lose Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And if he can come back for the playoffs, what have you, that would be nice.
But the question is what does he look like when he comes back? Because, that's a foot injury. Is he able to come back in and be able to be what he was before that injury, or is he going to have some time to work back into it? Yeah.
He would have to. Like, to throw him out there and run him 35 times
You're
a
not gonna be
game
able to
in the
do that.
playoffs, you cannot do that, especially with a foot injury. He's 6'4", 240. Just doesn't even seem realistic. In the NFC, Packers are the only team who have clinched a playoff spot. They win the NFC North this weekend. In the 2 spot, your Cowboys 10-4, Bucks at 3, Cardinals at 4, Rams at 5, 49ers at 6, Saints end up rising up to 7. Now we'll see what happens with Washington on Tuesday. They could rise back up and get in there. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. We'll see what happens with that. Also, the Vikings have a chance to make a move, and the Eagles. Eagles versus Washington football team is going to be interesting. Both teams at 6-7 have a chance to improve to 7-7. And I look at this weekend. I look at the Cardinals and what they are, 10-4. But this weekend sort of proves what we thought about the Cardinals in the first place. Are you going to trust them once they get in there against a good team every single week in the playoffs? Are they going to be able to get moving? And if you look at what they did against the Lions this weekend, they were pitiful. 30-12. They let Craig Reynolds, again from Kutztown University of Pennsylvania, run all over them. 26 rushes, 112 yards. I've said it, and I'll say it again. Until the Cardinals show me they can win in the playoffs, I'm not going to trust them.
Yeah. And then, I like what Kyler Murray's done, but, I mean, like you said, that loss really hurt them. Not really, standings a little bit, but, they still look like they're going to, have a good seed in the playoffs. But that's the question is, it's just going to be hard for them, how young some of their key players are, to be able to go into the playoffs and every single week it be a lose or go, or win or go home.
Mm-hmm. Now the Buccaneers lost last night. Of course, the Saints looked terrible in doing so, 9-0. But the big news of the day, they lost Chris Godwin, their leading receiver for the year. How much does this mean, though? In the grand scheme of things, they still have Mike Evans, and I don't know how long he'll be hurt for. Leonard Fournette, of course, hurt as well, but we'll see the length of injury. How much does this mean? Gronkowski?
Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski's still out there. They have enough weapons, I think, offensively. But losing Chris Godwin is sort of a safety blanket guy for Tom Brady, a guy who can run those shallow crossers. He can hit him. He can do some good things running after the catch. He has been the safety blanket for Tom Brady, and I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that we're going to understand how big of a loss it is until we see Tom Brady without him on the field.
Yeah, well, and you talk about Godwin, that's a big loss. But I mean, also I haven't seen how long is Evans going to be out.
Still wondering.
Mm-hmm. And so if you lose both those guys, that's a big loss for Tom Brady. And I don't know how much they're going to be able to make up with losing those two guys.
Well, where are you at on your Cowboys? Be real. I want you. Well, actually, that's not.
I love them. What are you talking about?
You can't be real. You're incapable of being real.
Except talk about the Cowboys. Jake Fromm got in there at the end for the Giants.
Yeah, man.
He made some good throws.
Mike Glennon was terrible.
Yeah, he was.
Trayvon Diggs, too. I mean, he got his 10th interception of the year.
Well, and his thing after he gets an interception is he holds up the amount of hands of how many interceptions he has. Fingers, that's what I meant. Yeah, you only have two hands. He's running out of fingers. Well, he's completely out. That was his 10th.
Yeah, he's out.
So I don't know what he's going to do with his next interception.
I'm going to say it, though, man. And you're going to hate me for this, but let's talk about it. Let's discuss this.
Let's do it. What are we discussing?
Trayvon Diggs gets burnt. He does.
I mean, yeah, sometimes.
He's a feast or famine corner. And I shout out to him. He's putting himself in the Defensive Player of the Year category because of all of the plays he's made. But I wonder how that defense is going to hold up against a good wide receiver corps in the playoffs. Does that not concern you?
No, I mean, it definitely concerns me. I mean, a lot of things with the Cowboys concern me. But we'll see. I mean, he's done a good job. They run a lot of zone,
right?
Which has been
their secondary just freaks me out.
It does, and I think that's why they run more zone than they run man. Is because I don't think there's that one corner that they feel like they can rely on one-on-one. So, yeah, it concerns me. The offense concerns me at times.
That's the bigger concerning thing right now is Dak has just not been on his game. And I you know what? I don't really know what to point to. I honestly. I mean, Dalton Schultz was his leading receiver this weekend. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure what the issue has been. Maybe certain defenses are seeing the route combinations they like to run and they're sitting on them. But it's been tough going for that pass offense. Running the ball, I'm not overly concerned about unless they have a whole bunch of injuries across their O-line.
Pollard's a little banged up.
But down the stretch of the season, you just wonder why it has been so bad passing the ball. And Brian, I don't really understand. And you're talking about against teams that aren't particularly great in their secondary. Like Washington football team's okay at best, I'd say. Giants are not good in their secondary, and they hadn't really had the same vigor that they had in the first 5-6 weeks of the season. That's the bigger concern. But defensively, I've always had the concern of, okay, when they get against a team that's game planning them for one game and that team does not make a mistake with the football, can they hold up just man on man, big on big?
Yeah. Well, and another thing, going back to the offensive side of the ball, I mean, I think in the past, I like Dak Prescott. I don't think he is a fantastic quarterback.
Really?
I don't love him.
Okay.
But I do think in the past, that first season he had, some of those late seasons with Romo, they had a lot of all-pro guys on their offensive line. And I think those guys were able to kind of hide some mistakes at quarterback. And so I think you've lost some of those guys, and I think you're able to see a lot more of those mistakes that Dak makes on a game-to-game level. But yeah. I like Dak. I think he's a good quarterback, but he does make mistakes.
Yes, he does. It's been more frequent as the season's gone on, and that's the concerning thing. Is okay because I can tell you from experience, early in seasons, a lot of times when they haven't seen your route combinations, when they haven't seen your running schemes, it's very easy to sort of bust them open, get a whole lot of yards, put up 400, 500-yard days on a defense. But you get later in that season, and everything that you have is on film at that point.
And you're seeing a lot of teams you've already seen at least once.
Yes, it's a lot more. It's a lot more of a challenge to try to score points and then put up the same offensive numbers you had the first time around. So, Cowboys still sit at 10-4, still in a great spot. But I wonder about them long term. In the NFC, though, if you're trusting a team right now to come out of the NFC and you have one team, no other choice, who are you taking?
Packers.
Me too. The way Aaron Rodgers is playing has to be. He's the MVP frontrunner.
Oh, yeah.
Has to be. And just week in, week out. And it's funny, too, because I just talked about film. I just talked about, when you have the same film all year and people are watching it, they start to catch up to you. Aaron Rodgers does things you can't study for. He places balls like you've never seen. And the problem is I've been predetermined to believe, Bryant, that once he gets into the playoffs, it'll come to an end at some point, whether it's the NFC Championship or the game before the NFC Championship. It's looking like they're likely going to have the bye. I know some things have to play out, but they're playing the best right now. Just beat the Ravens. I know it was 31-30, but the in-game situation, end-game coaching was pretty suspect. But I've always been predetermined to believe that Aaron Rodgers' sort of run ends in the NFC Championship. He's only got past it once, only taken advantage of it once. So we will see. But that is, no question, the team I trust the most. And in the AFC, Chiefs, believe it or not.
Which is wild, right? I mean, it just seems like a couple weeks ago everyone was saying, we were saying even, that they were done and they didn't look like the same Chiefs they did, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't the same quarterback he had been, and now, I mean, they're sitting atop the AFC and we're talking about them being the favorites again.
And look, you can say what you want about them defensively and what it may be come playoff time, blah, 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 blah. Still Steve Spagnuolo defense. We know how he does in playoff situations. So he does relatively well. Saw it with the Giants, with Eli Manning, right? But offensively, if they pick up the way they've been picking up and they sort of roll this into the playoffs, that's the team to beat in the AFC. Yeah. And if you told me this, 6-7 weeks ago, I'd tell you you're insane. But Patrick Mahomes has started to take checkdowns. They've started, well, they still haven't really run the ball like they should. But he started to take checkdowns, and the other night against the Chargers was a really good night. His best night of the year, in my opinion, as far as creating explosive plays, getting out of the pocket, getting the ball to Tyreek Hill off platform, 410 yards, 3 TDs the other night against a relatively good secondary of the Chargers. I mean, a good defense of the Chargers. A lot of guys that can rush the passer from the Chargers. So Chiefs have somehow put themselves at the top and are the class of the AFC late in the season. We come back from the break. We have one game underway right now. We'll give you an update on that, and we will make a pick and give you our big four from all of these teams. Vikings, Bears, Raiders, Browns. We have a big four from all four of those teams. We'll be back on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey everybody, it's that wonderful time of the year, and all the Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans, and Blazers, they're all here in Olive Branch. Yes, right here at All-Star Chevrolet. Just ask for Kevin or Jeff. They'll check your list and make it happen for the new year. Seriously, these will go fast, so try to get here this week. Our friends at All-Star Chevy have been spot on getting all the best 2021s and 2022s you want, and in all the colors you want too. I can see where all the Silverados are, and I see a lot of red tags. So look for the red tags for an extra $500 bonus cash. 0 for 72 financing is available, and your good credit deserves it. So if it's a new Chevy or pre-owned or certified pre-owned Chevy you want, or you want to sell any car or truck and get a check today, remember, it's not South Haven, not the Pike, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
The Christmas sale is happening now at Family Leisure. Did you know that's where Santa goes to shop? Oh, yes. Why? Because arcades are up to 25% off. Air hockey and foosball tables, they start at just $149.99. You can get great deals on hot tubs and saunas. Let me tell you, that is perfect for the winter weather. Trampolines, up to 20% off. This is the best time to buy. Pool tables and shuffleboard tables in stock and ready for delivery. They're not waiting on a boat somewhere. Speaking of delivery, those schedules are filling up very, very fast. So reserve your date now, just in time for Christmas. It's the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. It's happening now. Remember, shop early, shop local, and shop where Santa shops. It's Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40. It's where family and fun come together for the holidays.
Now at Banana Republic Factory, 50 to 70% off everything. Discover winter essentials, holiday party looks, last-minute gifts, and more from $14.99. Find your nearest store or shop online. Only at Banana Republic Factory.
Hi, I'm Troy Fivesh, owner of Fivesh Roofing. Sunday, today and today only, and for the first 50 callers. These are things you will never hear me say in my ads, because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you don't need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get someone's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or products? By overcharging you in the first place. That's how. 5S Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service, and I do it for a fair price, why would I need gimmicks? Best products, best warranties, and the best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. 5S Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5S Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5S Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sponsor of this hour is DeSoto Auto Sales, online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. They are at 5704 Goodman Road in DeSoto County. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars thoroughly examined, checked out bumper to bumper, head to toe. Unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car just for you. No shortcuts taken, though. They'll treat you like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. You walk in, within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's that simple at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, and trust.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Well, Vegas bettors are sitting pretty at the moment. NFL rescheduled game from Saturday, Browns-Raiders. Just got to halftime. Raiders up 10-0. Derek Carr, 1 TD pass. He threw that to Bryan Edwards, of all people. And I do have to point this out. Hunter Renfrow, 3 catches for 32 yards tonight. But have you noticed what he has done as of late? Have you seen these numbers, Brian?
Remind me.
Last 3 games against Dallas. Okay. You probably remember this one.
I do remember him against Dallas.
8 receptions, 134 yards. Then against Washington, 9 receptions, 102. Last week against KC, 13 receptions, 117 for 1 TD. Hunter Renfrow putting it on the rest of the NFL, and that's interesting. He's giving a lot of
good for him.
Giving a lot of white guys hope. There's no question about it.
Guys like me, white receivers like
white
me.
receivers like you. Yes, He's giving you a lot of hope.
Too bad I didn't go to Clemson.
First one in, last one to leave. The whole 9 yards. We understand that. Now we will carry a game tonight, 7 p.m. on these airwaves. Vikings at Bears, Monday Night Football matchup. Vikings -6.5 versus the Bears. I'm not overly sure on all of the COVID issues, but I don't think there is many for either team. So mostly full strength that we're looking at. Justin Fields, of course, will get the start for the Bears. I'm going to go ahead and pick first. I'm going to go Vikings -6.5. Now here's the thing, and you know how I feel about this, Brian. I hate taking Kirk Cousins in prime time.
You do.
I hate it.
But it came back to hurt you last time.
It did come back to hurt me last time. Although the Steelers almost came back and
they
won
sure
that ball
did.
game.
Yeah.
I hate taking it in prime time, but the Bears are just decimated. Bears, I mean, what hope do they have for the rest of the year? I just don't really see it. They have a coach in there that they hate. In all likelihood. I don't know why it's taking so long for the front office and everybody to get rid of Matt Nagy. They're 4-9. I'm taking the team that has something to play for. Give me the Vikings. And I think they win. I mean, 6.5. If it was 7.5, I'd be a little freaked out. 6.5, I can handle that. Win by a touchdown, I can deal.
So Brett, he's right there with you. He's going to go with the Vikings. Me, on the other hand.
Of course you are. Of course you
are. Go with the Bears.
So, come on. Give me an explanation. Give me something. I got to hear this.
You know.
You have no reason.
No, I mean.
There's no method to your madness.
Here's what I'll say. Home underdog in a primetime game. They don't have to win. They just have to cover. And really, do you really win the game if you don't cover?
Well, home underdog in a primetime game. Last night, let's think about that one. Home underdog in a primetime game. No, it was not a home underdog. It was an away underdog, but they went in. They went into Tampa Bay and won that ball game. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my pick of the Vikings minus the 6.5. And Brett's going that way too. Bryant, the only one differing there.
Yeah.
Now let's get to our big four, and this big four is wide open. Defensive players from the Vikings, Bears, Raiders, or Browns, any order, however you want to do it. Bryant,
No.
I hope you have something good. I hope you have something good. Let's go Brett first. Let's go
Brett
absentee
first.
vote.
Okay. So Brett, he's going to start off, and like you said, this is from all four teams. So he's going to go Dick Butkus, Charles Woodson, Alan Page, and then Mike Singletary.
Okay.
Former head coach of the Express.
Yep. Yeah, I got when I got cut from the Express, I didn't get a call from him though.
Well, he was on my top four, but I might take him off.
Want to know something funny about that? Actually, I was out of town. I believe it was for the holidays.
This is when you got cut?
Yeah, I was out of town for the holidays. I don't think I've told this story on the air before. Out of town for the holidays.
Okay.
Coming back in town.
What, like Christmas?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, because it was going to start in February or whatever.
Yeah.
Coming back in town. I was at home for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Coming back in, not at home, but in
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis, where I'm
Hometown,
from,
yeah.
hometown. Coming back in town from St. Louis, and it wasn't even a normal player personnel full-time guy that called me.
It was like an intern.
It was an intern from the player personnel office that called me and said, "We're going to let you go. You're going on to waivers." And I don't even know what waivers was for the AAF. Like, do they even have a waiver system for
This is
that?
a startup league. What are we talking about?
They didn't have anything figured out. Everybody had the same contract, exact same contract. So that was an experience, to say the least.
Was he just like?
He's
Did he
like,
call you Gabe? Would he call you Mr. Coon? Did he call you by your number? Like what?
Hey, 71.
Hey, 71, you're cut.
Hey, is this number 71 on the Memphis Express?
Should have told him he had the wrong number.
You know what? I was thinking about it, but I saw the number. It wasn't even a 901 number. I had a feeling it was something like that. But that was kind of
That's
a low
tough.
blow, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's kind of a low blow. It's got to be the coach. Coach has got to call, or the GM.
Somebody, not an intern. That's for
And I'm
sure.
not trying to badmouth anybody, but that's just
That's
in bad taste. That's
like
in
from
bad taste.
Moneyball.
Yeah, that's in bad taste, man.
It is.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But you got to treat people with respect, man.
Mm-hmm.
It gets reciprocated.
Right. So next time you see Mike Singletary,
And that's why, hey, never mind. That's why the AAF went on. Because they just didn't conduct business.
hey,
the
look,
right way.
Mike Singletary better be happy that it went under because he was on the verge of being thrown out of town.
Give me a break, man. Give me a break. I mean, how many games was it in total?
I think it was 7. It was either 7
total?
games or week 7 when it got canceled. I don't exactly
I was
remember.
pretty salty at the time.
Did you go to any games or was it
No.
like I'm not going to support
No,
them?
No, I did not support after that.
I went to a lot.
I didn't support after that.
I was a
for
big
being
Express
honest.
guy.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was at like all the games.
You're a big Johnny Manziel guy.
Oh no, when they signed Johnny Manziel, immediately
You
went
still
and bought
have
a
a jersey,
jersey.
yeah.
I mean, I was there for his game that he got a concussion. Oh, I was
Know what
ecstatic.
and we're going to get to our top 4, or our big 4. Know what I always thought was funny was the fact that they tried to mic up the quarterbacks.
Oh, that was
live.
awesome. I loved that.
That was hilarious
I loved
to me,
it.
though. And they
I
tried to
loved
put
it.
it on national TV like
Yeah.
it would be okay.
Yeah.
They're
They
gonna
didn't
cuss.
care. Yeah.
They're gonna cuss.
And they kept trying to act like they didn't know that. Oh, they forgot they were mic'd up. They don't care that they're mic'd up. They're in the middle of a game.
man.
That's the like Penny said. That's the last thing they expect. You know.
I mean, you're not going to get every quarterback to be like Phillip Rivers, where he does like the bleeped out trash talk.
Yeah.
Dead gummit.
Gosh darn it. But no, great
Fetch.
league. I'm upset it went under.
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
hear you.
upset.
Now here's my big 4. Number 1, I go Charles Woodson.
Okay.
Shout out Charles Woodson. Number 2, I know we just got done talking about him.
You
I'm gonna go
cannot
Mike-
have him on your
I'm gonna-
top 4.
I'm
No.
gonna go Mike
No.
Singletary. Dude, he gave up.
No.
I mean, that was a lot. That was a lot
No.
of production.
I won't allow
for
it.
that 85 Bears team and that sort
Talking
of
about
Bears.
how salty and you were.
Bears in the 80s, he was the man. 3, and he could be for either team that he's involved with. I go Khalil Mack. I think that's fair. Bears and Raiders. So it could go for either one. I don't really care which. And I think by the end of his career, he'll be doing pretty well.
Mhm.
He'll have some good production. And 4, I go Myles Garrett. Shout out Myles Garrett. What's funny about that?
Wait. Who is your number one again?
Charles Woodson.
Okay. Well, ours is off by like only one person.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Charles Woodson or Mike Singletary?
It's Charles Woodson.
Okay. So what do you got?
I had Dick Butkus.
Come on, man.
Why not?
What are you, 21?
Oh,
22?
you cannot exempt a legend like that.
Okay,
you
but
cannot.
then you want to give me crap for Mike Singletary.
Because
How does that make sense?
You just gave this whole story about Mike Singletary, and then you were like, yeah, fine. Second, Mike Singletary.
There you go.
Third, Khalil Mack. And 4, Myles Garrett. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Well, a little mix of old and young, but it's different because
Dick
it's
Butkus, that's a huge throwback, man. That's a big throwback. You seen any Dick
Legend.
Butkus highlights?
Of course.
You watched some
Of course. Great name.
Did you watch the All 22 with Dick Butkus?
Yeah, something like that. looked up his highlights on the old computer,
Okay, I got you. They probably don't even carry those on YouTube. Let's be real.
Let's see if we can find some.
Oh no, I bet they have like very few. Probably shot in a really old camera.
Oh,
Hard
I love
to
those.
see. They don't have any like. It's not like it is nowadays. You've seen those All 22s, right?
Monster of the Midway.
Yeah, you've seen those All 22s. Those
yeah.
videos where they do the sideline angle and the back angle. Yeah, they don't have that. They
didn't have that back in the day. They had one camera, if that.
Also, a couple of notes out of the NFL before we get to break. The Giants have shut down Daniel Jones for the year because of a neck injury, which they said there was no structural damage. It turned out there was structural damage. So they played him when he had structural damage in his neck. Not a good look for the Giants. Also,
So you mean more minutes for Jake Fromm is what I'm hearing.
or that or Mike Glennon.
Jake Fromm.
Mike Glennon didn't get hurt, did he?
No, he just
wasn't
wasn't playing well.
He just stunk.
And they were down by a lot, so they just hey, Fromm, get in there.
Also, Jalen Hurts is on track to start for the Eagles against Washington football team. So some news for those guys, the people out there for fantasy or betting. Looks like Jalen Hurts will start against the Washington football team tomorrow night. And also, Chiefs place Pro Bowl tight end Travis Kelce on the COVID list. He is vaccinated, though. This is coming from Adam Schefter. He is vaccinated. So there is a chance he can get off of it before they play on Sunday. So when we come back from the break, it'll be time to put a wrap on this Monday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and that means it's time for the most wonderful meal. And in downtown Memphis, that means 117 Prime. Celebrate the holidays by giving yourself and your loved ones the gift of Prime. With the amazing steaks, the extensive wine program, and add in the oyster bar, the perfect house-made desserts, and one of the best selections of bourbon anywhere in the city, and you have the recipe for a meal to remember. Soak in the cozy atmosphere while enjoying the one-of-a-kind service, and you have the perfect way to ring out the old year and ring in the new. For wonderful, you want 117 Prime.
Santa's ready to put you in a new sleigh today at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. And Rudolph's got 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage G4 with 43 mpg highway at $16,612 or $199 a month. Get where you're going in style with 2022 Eclipse Cross, $26,332 or only $319 a month. And new 2022 Outlander at $369 a month. And these are not leases. You own them. Plus, get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get your new sleigh today at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months at 2.64 APR, G4, NHF 00210, MSRP 18335, Eclipse NZO 44032, MSRP 286, Outlander NZO 43358, MSRP 31040, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 12/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Cancer. So many lives are touched by cancer. In fact, 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer. At the American Cancer Society, we're on a mission to free the world from cancer. It's a big mission, driven by little things like a ride to treatment, a free place to stay, a 24/7 helpline. But these little things are really the big things. Because to a cancer patient and their family, they're everything. And every day we reach thousands of cancer patients who so desperately need these services. But we need your help to get these critical services to more people and families in need this holiday season. Go to cancer.org and join the fight against cancer. It takes just minutes to donate and help provide essential support to cancer patients and their families. Don't wait. More than 1 in 3 people will be diagnosed with cancer. Go to cancer.org right now and make a difference. Go to cancer.org.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in to wrap up this Monday edition of the show. Got a text here. We're going to unload the text line here. We have a story, and we have someone commenting on our Colts. Our Colts, I guess. Could I call them our Colts? With
HBO's Colts.
Yeah, we've been giving them a lot of credit today. Someone says, look who the Colts have beat. They're not as good as everybody thinks. You just beat a team that's the hottest team in the NFL, and the Pats. And the Pats beat a whole lot of people on that stretch, 7 games in a row. Now, I understand you can't do team math all of the time, but the Colts have all of the pieces they need. Defensively, they're good. They have a good head coach, good running game. Carson Wentz has been playing steady, not turning the ball over like he was in Philadelphia. I'm telling you right now, you can mark my words on this, and I believe they will get into the playoffs. I think they win a game or two in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I truly do.
And, I mean, we didn't say they were going to win the Super Bowl, but also, a lot of it is they have players that can make a difference, and the fact that they're playing well right now. You have a running back who is making a push for MVP. If he's playing well when playoffs comes, he can be the difference in a game. You've got a quarterback who's playing a lot better. If he's playing well when we get to playoff time, he can be the difference in a game or two.
Good run game, a good defense, and a quarterback when push comes to shove that can probably make a play. I like my chances with the Colts.
Yeah.
Colts have a good put-together team. Now, we have a story as well.
Yeah, so we got a text earlier about, we asked from stories from Nashville. This texter said his son goes to the University of Memphis, and one of his friends has an older brother who works for the Predators and was able to get them courtside tickets for the game.
That's a letdown.
They drove all the way up there. They were in their seats. I think he said it was about him and a couple of his other friends in their seats courtside when it was announced that they weren't going to play the game. So bummer for them. Could have been he said it could have been a life-changing experience or one of those big experiences. Also, we had another texter say, have you ever been to the Taco Bell in Nashville?
No.
Supposedly there's a Taco Bell. I guess it's on Broadway. They just said
there's got to be more than one Taco Bell.
They just said
Nashville.
The Taco Bell in Nashville is legit. And so I looked into this. They have a Taco Bell on Broadway that they have the other night, because I texted my friend who was there. I said, do you know anything about this Taco Bell in Nashville?
Oh, gosh.
He told me they have a band inside Taco Bell. Like a legit band just playing for the customers in Taco Bell. And that it's a super nice Taco. Because I was like, what is this guy talking about?
What kind of band
I guess a country band. I don't know.
Yeah, you need to get some more.
I don't know.
You're talking about a Screamo band? Country
I have no
band?
idea. I don't know, but when I saw the text, I was like, I gotta figure
They playing
this out.
Jazz in there?
I don't think it was jazz. No, I would say probably not.
I would imagine.
I'd bet country. Yeah.
The Taco Bell is legit in Nashville.
Taco Bell's
interesting
legit.
Text. Very interesting text. After our show, we will be carrying Rebel Yell, and then after that, at 7 o'clock, Vikings at Bears. We will carry on 560 AM, 98.5 FM. It's officially time for Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, hell, what I learned today is that they have a band in the Nashville Taco Bell.
Yeah, how about that?
But in all being real. What I learned today is that NC State avoided a postseason ban, which certainly looks good as far as the IARP is concerned for Memphis. Their former coach, Mark Gottfried, gets the 1-year show cause, and a former assistant gets a 6-year show cause due to $40,000 in payments to their former player, Dennis Smith Jr. You're talking about the Tigers only paid James Wiseman for $12,000. Now, it's a different situation because they did play James Wiseman when he was not eligible, but this certainly looks good, and I think a lot of fans, a lot of media members were thinking about a postseason ban. I'm not saying it's off the table, but it looks more realistic that the postseason ban will not happen to the Tigers, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. I know a lot of people are hoping that it doesn't come to that. My top story of the day, we talked a lot about Tiger and Charlie this weekend. They played in the PNC Championship, the father-son tournament. But do you know who won that tournament?
John Daly and John
Daly and Lil Jon,
And you know what? They are, father-son duo. They're that's a swaggy father-son duo right there.
And Lil Jon's about to go to Arkansas. He's going to play collegiately at Arkansas, which is awesome. John Day, we know, has been battling cancer, so that's awesome that they're able to still get out there
everybody's paying
and play
attention to the
golf.
Tiger Woods storyline, but John Daly, what he's gone through in the past few years.
Exactly.
Seriously, they won, but also, Tiger and Charlie, that was fun to watch.
Oh, that was awesome.
They shot a 57, which is one off the course record on Sunday. They set a record 11 straight birdies. 11 straight birdies. And Charlie, at times, seemed like he was carrying Tiger.
More than a couple, yes.
Charlie is
spitting image of his father.
I am not some golf expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I can tell you right now, Charlie is on his way to being a pro, and just the feel he has for the game is insane. It's insane. What I could have done without one is this. Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. I'm tired of seeing that. And Tyron Woodley thinks he's going to fight Jake Paul again and all this nonsense.
No.
Let's just stop this right now. And somebody fight Jake Paul that can beat him. That's what I want to see. But I don't think Jake Paul will do that. He's got a whole – Tommy Fury could, but do you think Jake Paul actually gets into that fight and there's no issues beforehand?
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know. That's what the original fight was supposed to be.
What I could have done without is this Emily Kaplan report from the NHL. NHL is suspending games with cross-border travel until after Christmas break. They canceled 12 games. 12 canceled from December 20th to the 23rd. There was a total 27 postponements. The January 10th deadline to opt out of the Olympics is approaching relatively shortly. And according to Emily Kaplan from ESPN, sources have said it's highly unlikely that NHL players will participate since the schedule has been impacted so much. And this morning, Montreal Canadiens and the Columbus Blue Jackets have officially shut down until after Christmas.
Yeah, it's I hate it. And it leads me into my not top story of the day because mine is my Kraken.
Kraken.
Their last game against the Maple Leafs got postponed. They were supposed to play tonight against the Coyotes. Got postponed. Now, their next game that they were supposed to play against the Flames, like you just said, can't go cross-border. So that one's been postponed. So now, their last game was on the 18th. Next game that they'll play, if everything holds, will be on the 27th.
Good Lord. What we're looking forward to tonight, rest of this Raiders-Browns game. We have Vikings and Bears tonight on these airways, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. That'll be at 7 o'clock. The pregame will start. There's a whole lot going on. We will not be in here tomorrow, so look forward to Idaho Potato Bowl, Kent State, Wyoming, Frisco Bowl, UTSA, San Diego State in the NBA. We have the Grizzlies at home against the Thunder. Last time out, they beat the Thunder by 73. As far as the NBA is concerned, not much else that's very interesting. On the docket, maybe 76ers Celtics here at 6:30, relatively soon. But that is about it. That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Evan Barnes and David Cobb for their contributions to the program. For Brett, for Bryant, I'm Gabe. Enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure you realize we are off tomorrow to accommodate coverage for Ole Miss versus Samford, so we won't be back until Wednesday. We'll holler at you then.
Visit Frontier Western Store